pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like to advise those present that notice of this regular meeting of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken has been provided to the public in accordance with provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act. Notice of this regular monthly March board meeting was given by publication of the annual meeting notice of the authority with amendments as necessary. It was sent to the Star Ledger on Tuesday, March 4th, 2024, and sent to the City Clerk of Hoboken on Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. I'm sorry, there was an error. Okay. March 2020. With a copy of the agenda to be posted on the aforementioned bulletin board in City Hall, Hoboken Library, and Hoboken Police Department, and posted on the authority website on Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. I direct the minutes of this meeting to state that I have announced that adequate notice of this meeting has been given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act. Director, roll call.
Roll call. David Edwards. Here. Anthony Forbes.
Present.
Barbara Reyes.
Here.
Jean Rodriguez.
Here.
Michael Russo. James Sanford. Erica Seitzman. Very good.
Can I get the Spanish?
I was closing the window.
I'd just like to remind the members of the public that you have 5 minutes to speak. We just ask that you're respectful of the staff as well as the commissioners and everyone here. Adrian Corozco, I'm sorry. So sorry.
It's okay. Thank
Could
you.
you spell your name, please?
Orozco.
First name?
Adrian, Adrian.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. So my name is Adrian Orozco, and I'm the New Jersey Political Director for 32BJ SEIU. 32BJ, we represent over 13,000 cleaners, security guards, airport workers, and also food service workers in the state of New Jersey. 1,500 of those work here in Hudson County. And with our dedicated members, 32BJ fights for stronger job standards that allow for working families to thrive. And I'm here tonight to speak on the resolution that you'll be voting on at the end of this meeting on the minimum security wage and benefit standards, along with one of our members, Kristen Hill, who's also a resident of the Housing Authority. So the proposed resolution to establish minimum wage standards and benefit rates for security contractors at the Housing Authority is a community-wide investment in Hoboken, promoting higher public safety standards for HHA residents while also creating good jobs for low-wage workers. Service jobs that support the maintenance and operation of public housing authorities should pay living wages and promote pathways out of poverty. Public housing authorities create access to housing for low-income residents. It's the mission of both Hoboken Housing Authority and the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to improve the quality of life of public housing residents. This resolution specifically is consistent with these aims by improving services for HHA residents while also advancing economic opportunity for low-wage workers who serve these facilities and who may also be HHA residents themselves. Research finds that higher wages actually decreases turnover among security guards, which improves security performance. Longer-standing workers have knowledge and experience particular to the site, know which tenants may need special assistance in an emergency, and they're also better equipped to identify and respond to community concerns. The standards proposed in this resolution are consistent with the rates required for security guards on Hudson County public contracts. These include a living wage, paid leave, and a benefit supplement, or the monetary value of those last three items. Offering these same rates makes HHA security contractors more competitive with other comparable employers in the county. So 32BJ commends HHA, its board, and Director Mark Recco on their leadership on family-sustaining job standards and your commitment to uplifting Hoboken communities. Also, we thank the mayor for some of his support on this as well, and we respectfully urge the passage of this resolution tonight. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Kristen Hill?
Could you just spell it? C-H-R-I-S-T-O-N. Last name H-H-A. Okay. Good evening, Hoboken Housing Authority. My name is Kristen Hill, and I have been a proud member of the 32BJ for 6 years. I have lived in Andrew Jackson Gardens for the past 33 years with my 23-year-old daughter. For the past 6 years, I have worked as a security officer and became a security supervisor 3 years ago at Cushman & Wakefield in downtown Jersey City. I would like to express my gratitude for your time and consideration for a resolution that aims to establish minimum labor standards for HHA security contractors. As a security officer and member of 32BJ, I'm fortunate to have a contract that offers me both job security and valuable benefits. I take great pride in having a job that pays above minimum wage with comprehensive benefits, including health care, where I don't have to pay a premium out of pocket. This health care is important, and it ensures that I am not financially burdened with medical expenses, especially when I need to take sick time for family emergencies or personal health issues. Without this coverage, I would be forced to budget carefully for medical expenses and rent. And in the event of an emergency, I would struggle to cover the cost, as I am the sole provider of my daughter. Many officers like me do not have the union contract and suffer from the race to the bottom that occurs when minimum standards are not set for public contracts. Without these minimum standards that you are considering today, an officer is only assured minimum wage and health plans that are often too expensive. By adopting this policy, you will be ensuring that your officers do not have to choose between having to pay for rent, groceries, or medicine. As a housing authority resident, I would also prefer to see less turnover in officers. These standards may entice an officer like myself to stay on a job longer, providing our residents with more experience and professional workforce. Thank you once again for your attention to this important issue.
Thank you, Kristen. Rachel Moffett? Okay, I'm sorry.
Just spell your name, please.
No, you're good. Hi, I'm Rachel Moffett, R-A-C-H-E-L-M-O-F-F-A-T-T. Hi, I'm Rachel Moffett, and I am the area director for Young Life, and we are actually a proud community partner with you guys. And so I just wanted to introduce myself and put a face to my name and tell you guys a little bit about what we do. We work with high schoolers specifically. Think Big Brother, Big Sister. There is some faith-based programming involved. However, it does have events that we do weekly and monthly. We also are now starting back basketball, which is amazing because we did it in the fall. It was a huge hit. And now we're going to do it again starting April 7th. There's some flyers that we have we're using the Damon Murray Community Gym. And so we're super excited to be using the indoor space in that facility. And that's basketball every single Monday nights starting at 7 p.m. There's coaches, there's open runs, and then there is basketball camp. So that's going to be this summer. That is June 27th through July 1st, and that's on the gray side right here. And that is all scholarships. We have people who have been just lovely donors who have been given scholarships so kids can go completely, totally free. And it's been a really awesome thing to see the community step up and come alongside us, to come and advocate for us and for our students, for the students that live here in Hoboken and making a difference. But the basketball camp is where this one's specifically just for high school boys, and it's at Lake Champion, and we take them up, and they get to play against also, that's called YL Hoops, that's the camp name officially, but they get to play against other Young Life boys that are in their basketball programs from like Queens, Baltimore, Bronx, Brooklyn, Boston, all those things. And they get to play in a tournament all week long. And so again, that is going to be taken care of because people have been giving scholarships, but also it's just something that we get to do every single Monday night at 7. Manny is one of our leaders, and we just have adults that are a part of our community that like to walk alongside high school students and just mentor them, love on them, and be that extra adult that can just pour into them and invest in them. And like I said, there is faith-based programming, but again, it's also just making sure that they as a person is solid and making sure that they know that they have people that are in their corner that are advocating for them. And then we also have the second summer camp. This is also just traditional summer camp. You can play basketball, but it's not basketball focused. But that is July 15th through 20th. We actually have several high school students already attending. I also work part-time at Hoboken High School, so that's been a really fun addition to my schedule, but also just getting to know the high school students here within your residences, but also at the high school has just been really awesome just to get to pour into them, get to know them. Summer camp it's tubing, it's zip lining, it's just letting them be a kid without, there's no phones for a week, so can I get an amen? But I'm just saying, no phones for a week, they get to disconnect, they get to do and be kids, and I'm with them, Manny's with them. It's a bunch of adults that have poured into as leaders to invest into them, and then hopefully in the future we get to do the same thing for middle schoolers. But Young Life has been around for 82 years. We've been in Hoboken for 1 year, so this is why I'm here, to introduce myself to you guys, because we plan to stay. We're here, I know a lot of people come and go, but we're here for the long haul. And yeah, we are in 114 countries around the world, and we're in every single state in America. So you can either go to younglife.org, that's our public website, or if you want to find out what we specifically are doing in Hoboken, you can go to Young Life's, our Instagram, it's at yl.hoboken. And so if these flyers have been shared, there's also, I know Barbara and Becky and Lourdes have been sharing stuff on social media and on the calendars and stuff, so you can find out more about all of these things and what we have going on. For our events, we have club, there is a Bible study sometimes once a month, there's camp, there is tutoring. We also offer tutoring thanks to students with from Stevens Institute of Technology. We do every single Monday and Wednesday from 3:30 to 6 at 833 Clinton Street, so Hoboken Free Church, but we just use the basement, and they tutor in math, science, and SAT prep, and they just give of their time because they simply just want to make an impact on students' lives. So I'm thankful for the opportunity to be a community partner with you guys, and I'm thankful for just the ability to, or the opportunity to speak tonight and get to know you guys more, hopefully better in the future, and get to know your students, and just thankful to make a difference in Hoboken. So, yeah. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Good evening, Commissioners, members of the public, everyone. It might take me a moment. Do you mind if I just thank you, Madam Chair? It's a little bit of sweet for me because it took me a while to get the nerves. As you can see, I'm a little nervous, and it's not because I'm nervous in speaking with you or anyone here, is that it brings back memories from my beloved departed brother, who was a member of the community of the Housing Authority in his last few months. And so to be in any type of the complex where it looks similar, it brings me back to that memory of my brother. And I will say his name, Jose Antonio Rivera Soler, so it's forever memorialized here in the record. Again, I want to thank everyone from the Housing Authority who was very accommodating and helping him, and their condolences to my family, and thank you very much for that. With that, I want to say also, because it is still the month of Ramadan, Ramadan Mubarak to all who observe Ramadan. May this Ramadan bring you light, love, and harmony into your lives. And I mean that to all of you and to all the members of the public. And this is a beautiful saying, that's why I have adopted it. And with that, Council President, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I'm thinking of somewhere else. Just for the record, so that it is shown that someone asked the question on the agenda. Again, it is never a personal thing. If and you will, because I know that the Executive Director does go down the list, but officially 25-03.3, 25-03.4, and 25-03.6. In those resolutions, if members of the public could get just a little more clarification in regards to especially the door on Harrison Street, Harrison Gardens, pardon me. And in conjunction with that, I just also would like to say that the door on 221 Jackson sometimes breaks down a little bit too much. So if that one could also be looked in, that one I know because I know it personally. So I'm just throwing that out there since you are looking at doors. And finally, again, I would just like to add my voice to the speakers that were before me in regards to the resolution establishing minimal labor standards, 25-03.11. Minimal standards, at least it's the minimum. It should be better than minimum, but we need to retain people who know. Again, I speak by experience. When you walk in through a door of one of the buildings, it's good to know that it's a face that you've seen before, that it's not a different stranger every time. So again, it's my experience. I've given it to the board, I've given it to the commission. So you know that some people do get a little fidgety when they see a person one week and the next week is someone else, and someone might be more friendlier than the other. So it is important, continuity everywhere. So with that, I just want to say again, thank you all for your attention, and have a good evening. God bless you all.
Ray Rodriguez.
Could you just spell your last name?
Thank you.
Could you just spell your last name?
Oh, my name is Ray Rodriguez, RayRodriguez. I'm the founder of Amazing Truth Society. We've been based at the Hoboken Housing Authority for 16 years now. And I made a promise to Recco a while ago, when he first started, that I was going to bring a lot of attention to the Housing Authority, positive attention. And so far, if you look at that magazine in front of you, this is the last time, by the way, that you'll see me on the cover. You're usually going to see either kids on the cover, especially my students. They're going to be on the cover. I'll pick a student every 6 months to put on the cover. And so far, we've been doing things that no one else is doing in Hoboken, which I'm very proud of. Not only are we starting to compete again, my karate students, but also that this magazine starts giving a view for everyone to see what Hoboken's like. The people that live here. I don't live in Hoboken. I wish I did. I love Hoboken so much that I've been here now 16 years. And I'm proud to be here working in the Hoboken Housing Authority. And I thank you. I thank Barbara Reyes for always supporting all my endeavors. So far, this magazine is going to basically talk about the kids, what they're doing academically in school. And we're going to be covering Hoboken Police Department, giving them a positive face, okay? It's hard to do your job. I know that. It's hard to come in every day and try and fix up the apartments and always get criticized for it. So I want to make sure that not only the residents have a face in this magazine, but so do you, and it's a positive face, Most of all, we had the second annual largest award dinner in Hoboken, and I'm very proud of that too. We had a lot of kids being honored, some residents, and once again, the police department was honored. And I'm not going to stop. I'm glad you're supporting Amazing Truth Society so much. I'm extremely grateful to you guys. You haven't seen nothing yet. So I just wanted to give you an update of what's happening so far. All of it is good. And like I said, you haven't seen nothing yet. I have a lot more to show you. So thank you. God bless.
That was our last speaker. Your report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairwoman. And to start out my report, I would like to ask...
Can we please? I'm sorry.
To start out my report, I would like to ask a couple of officers that are back there to come on up and say hello. They've brought some goodies for everyone that's here and have a couple announcements on what the Hoboken Police Department are up to and some great job opportunities coming up.
You asked for us to sing as well?
Yeah. Actually,
We'll wait to the end for that.
It was the soft shoe.
Any Michael Jackson song.
Yeah.
He's more of a Sinatra guy, but we'll see what we can do.
Just have your names, please.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sergeant Joseph Mezzina.
And I'm Sergeant Bill Bullock.
Could you spell it?
Sure. Its last name is Mezzina.
Okay.
And my last name is Bullock.
And your first name?
Bill.
We also have Police Officer Mark Mormon with us in the back. Can't miss him.
Camera shy though.
Born and raised down here with us.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we're here tonight just to let everyone know that we are currently hiring police officers for the Hoboken Police Department, as well as crossing guards and police dispatchers. We have some information set up in the back. If anyone here is interested, or if you know anyone that is interested, it's an easy process as far as the application goes. We have a QR code set up in the back that will take someone directly to the application site on civil service. So it's fairly easy. So if anyone is interested or knows anyone, by all means, please let them know. We also have some goodies set up in the back for anyone.
Some sanitizers, key lanyards, keychains, so stop by and grab something before you go.
They're all marked with Hoboken Police phone number and information to contact the police if you're in an emergency. So by all means, come in the back and grab something and ask for information if you like. We're here to help.
I have a question.
Sure.
Are you guys doing this around town? Like, are you participating in any events?
So we just did a fair in Union.
At Kane College in Union, New Jersey.
And then we also set up at the Path area from 5 to 7. That was on what, Tuesday?
Yes.
And then we're doing it again on March 20th.
I'm just asking because I work for Hopes here in Hoboken and we're having an opportunities fair on March 20th, which is next week, from 1 to 6, and it's geared towards high school children, high schoolers who are graduating, going to college. So we're going to have different colleges there, as well as the armed forces and so forth. So if you guys want to set up a table, you'd be more than welcome.
Absolutely. We will speak, get your information, and definitely be there because that's exactly the groups that we would like to target as well. College students, young students as well. So.
Right.
Perfect.
Okay, so I'll give you information.
Oh, awesome. Thank you very much.
Make sure we get something on our website and as well as our next newsletter that goes out. So we'll work with you.
It's on the city website as well, too, so they can find it there as well.
Thank you.
All right, you got it.
I just want to say, yesterday we was at the CAPS meeting with the chief and the public safety director, and they also mentioned the aggressive search that we're looking for new officers. City council just passed
Going to pass for community policing.
for community policing, so I definitely encourage any local resident to definitely, get
No doubt about it.
Yes.
And look into it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a perfect opportunity, especially now the way you guys are doing it. So I think it's a great opportunity for young folks to get involved with that.
Agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Can the record show that Commissioner Sanford is now present?
So move on with my report.
we all know the concern over national events at this stage of time with federal funding and regulation. The first thing to hit us was that on February 28th, I was notified that our technical assistance coming through HUD is done, over, period. Not meeting again with them. They called and said, we're done, can't see you again. So their funding has been canceled nationally, and I can't tell you how important that assistance has been in bringing us to where we are today. When we take a look at our strategic plan, our redevelopment plan with the city, what we've done to understand the process has been absolutely invaluable to us. And I am sad that they're leaving us. I think it's really a shame that at this point we've had some partners that are national experts that have done thousands of units of public housing redevelopment and have that type of experience that are no longer going to be at our side. And it's really a shame. So we are starting to develop some RFPs that are going to bring that type of assistance on with us. We're going to need it. The difference is it's going to have to come out of our pocket as opposed to having HUD pay for it in the future. And of course, I don't think we'll be able to quite afford the level that they were funding us at through the technical assistance grant. We will be retaining our relationship, as far as I know, with our main HUD representative on that team, which is a high-ranking HUD official, Ellis Wilson and Ree. I talked to him last week, and he says, as far as he knows, he is still going to be working. But tune in tomorrow, folks, with what's going on nationally. So we don't know, but he has promised to stay in touch, and he's promised to see if there's any other resources that he can bring. We've also reached out just to have some preliminary conversations with some folks that might be able to help us. There's really two big areas as we move forward in redevelopment. One area is financial expertise. We really want somebody that's retained directly by us. As much as we may well love our developer partner we're going to have, I want access to somebody that's working directly for us, that's done thousands of these units and hundreds of these deals, that really can run those numbers. And it's a joy to behold, as somebody might know, how good they are at this, at saying this is going to be your projected income and this is what you can afford to build, this is what your projected operating costs are, and this is how you can operate. We really need somebody like that. And then the other area that I'm really going to push as we go down this road is somebody that knows the in and outs very, very well of the HUD application processes. There's probably going to be 5 to 7 different HUD applications we are going to have to do over the next year or so, ranging from special applications for demo and dispo applications, what they call Section 18, to the RAD application, to our CHAP applications. You always want somebody at your side that's, again, done 100 of these before, that may well know somebody in Chicago that can help you along. So those are the two big areas that I'm going to be pushing for as we land and find out exactly what's going on with HUD funding. A lot's at stake there as we await the results of Congress's actions over the next 48 hours, right? It's here. This fight is here, whether the government's going to be open or not, and what's going to happen to HUD funding. We just don't know at this point. We don't know how changes in the immigration law is going to hit us. I think Chairwoman Reyes and I have had some longer conversations on that, on how we might want to protect ourselves over time and our residents. There's the DEI issues, and I've just heard again that English has been declared as the national language. I don't know how that's going to affect us or what notice we might get from HUD on that, if the folks at HUD ever want to give out another notice, since there's only going to be about half of them working. So And when you talk to HUD, they are, I don't know, I'm not a psychologist, they're depressed. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what to think of next at the HUD offices, so they're wading through this as well. So we just don't know in changing times. So I'm going to proceed conservatively and cautiously because we don't know what our funding levels are going to be over the next year. But here we are, right? And let's continue to share information, if you will, as you run across information, because it can only help all of us. But having said that, in the Hoboken Housing Forward update, our redevelopment, we are at a juncture where we are negotiating with our development partner. Right now, we do expect to have something in front of you in April. We're close. We've been passing drafts between us and our development attorney and the Fitzpatricks as well. And I do want to say that that team has been just excellent, because anytime you have a project like this, you need local at-home representation with New Jersey law specifically, and the ins and outs of Hoboken and how we're going to proceed with our redevelopment project, as well as that Reno and Kavanaugh, which knows the national scene very well. They're the ones that know the folks in D.C. and what D.C. wants and what the regional HUD offices want. And Fitzpatrick and Waterman are the folks that know the local lay of the land, and the New Jersey lay of the land. So they're both important. So they've been receptive. The Reno and Kavanaugh, the RPM folks, which is our potential development partner, they've been very receptive to our suggestions. They've been working well with us. Once we have a basic agreement, it will come to you for your contingent approval, because we must remember, the Housing Authority cannot move forward with any type of agreement without the city's approval, because the city will be a party to that agreement. They will be the party to that agreement, so along with us and the development partner. So once this board approves it, it goes over to City Council, and then City Council must deal with it and go from there. We did meet with the City Council subcommittee this past month, so we informed them of where we are. They're up to date on where we are and what we're doing, so there's no surprises when it does come out of here and it hits the city. So we're continuing that circle of communication with them. So that's where we are right now. So even though HUD's doing what they're doing, right now it's not going to blast our process. Now, 6 months from now, do I have a crystal ball on what's going to happen with fair market rents and what's going to happen with rent levels? Of course I don't. My position is going to continue to move forward, to build on the process we have and the progress we have, and then if something changes, it changes, right? So that's where we are with the Hoboken Housing Forward. The city is proceeding with the environmental review, known as Part 58, and as of this writing, I did say we're continuing regular meetings with Enterprise HUD HHA team. Scratch that sentence out, because I just said that we're not, because they pulled that funding. My delete button didn't work last time. We continue to work with the American Legion.
Right?
Yeah, it is. Here it is. We continue to work with the American Legion Group on finalizing their requirements to enter into a contract with HHA. Remember, you approved that last month. We're working with them, and we continue to work with the HCC group on meeting their requirements. I have completed my round of, I call it my winter round, of meetings with every development on meet and greets over February and into March. Good meetings. They work well. I think it's important that I get together with residents and they get to see me and work with me. And again, I continue to encourage residents to come and see me when they need to. Work with your managers first. I will ask you to go through your managers, get the answers. If you don't have good answers, come and see me. Defensible space fencing is moving along nicely. That's at Andrew Jackson. You will see a small change order tonight on the agenda later on. As part of that special allocation of capital funding, our courtyard improvements and fencing project is about 90% complete. City inspections ongoing. We've finished the underground plumbing sewer systems. That was a huge project over the past 30 days, so they're moving ahead. Security camera installation on each floor and the rooftop is complete. They're firing up the systems now. As a matter of fact, a number of them are already fired up, and I'm real pleased with what we're seeing there. Hallway and stairwell refurbishment is completed. Final punch list items are being done, and the exterior door replacement at Harrison Gardens is predominantly complete. We did have to order another door, so that is on order, and you will see a small change order for that on your agenda later on today. We are working with the city on doing our this year's already awarded CDBG money.
Thank God.
Yeah, so we are also, Sandy's working on the applications for, and have submitted the applications for next year's CDBG money. Will it materialize? I don't know, right? We don't know. Is CDBG going to survive? What's going on? We don't know. But again, we're moving forward and we put in the applications for it. In the management side, we've got consumed with non-payment eviction issues and repayment agreement. Parking reconfiguration is on hold till spring. That's soon. We're ready. When the weather breaks, and we really feel we've got a few weeks of decent weather, we're going to finalize putting numbers on every single parking spot and assigning those parking spots through our family units to people with registered vehicles. So somebody that has a registered vehicle will get a spot. Say you're number 25, that's your spot. It's going to say 25 on there. And your ID card is going to have parking space number 25 on it, right? So there's no question, that's your spot. So if somebody's in your spot, towing car, you can call the towing company, work with whoever, say that is my spot, you've got evidence it's your spot, and that should solve a lot of issues around parking. We should be able to have a limited amount of visitors parking once we assign everybody, but again, we don't have enough parking spaces throughout our sites to have everyone have 2 parking spots. It's just not possible. I know some folks want 2 spots for their families. It's just not fair. Everyone can't have it. So we're still limiting it to 1 spot per family. We have been doing some towing lately. So yeah, so we've been busy with people being angry at us. But that's what it is. We've been doing some during the day, and we've been walking through at night as well. So we're going to continue with that. And again, if you see a particular vehicle that we have missed, that you see that's been parked illegally, please communicate with us, send us that picture, preferably with a license plate. You know, sneak up, take that picture and send it over to us, and we'll start keeping our eye out for that vehicle if they're coming there on a regular basis. I would like to introduce, once again, Ms. Villafane to give the management report.
Okay.
Hello. Yesenia, Yesenia, Villafane, Villafane. We're at a 98% occupancy right now. We're preparing our next batch for court, and that's going to mostly consist of abandoned units. We do have some repayments that the tenants defaulted on, so we'll be going back to court and requesting possession of the unit.
Now, what does that mean when somebody's default? Make sure everyone understand. They've already been to court, right?
They've been to court, they entered an agreement, and they defaulted on the agreement. So now we have to go and request a warrant of removal, right?
And that's serious. That's the second time, folks. You know.
And these will actually be families, because the last ones were mostly abandoned units. These are actually families that are living on the property. So
when you say abandoned units, no one's living there?
either they're deceased and we had to get legal possession of the unit, or they just abandoned the units.
And when we went to court the first time, just for background, we did a number of agreements with people that we had sanctioned by the judge, right? So if you remember, over the past couple of years, we've done agreements with families in-house, right? Now, those were great. We gave them a chance. Now, if they broke that agreement in-house, then we went to court, and court sanctioned an agreement in front of the judge that said, family, can you pay this extra $100 a month for X amount of years? Good. Sign off, everybody. Now they went back, and 4 months later, they haven't paid. Now we go back to the judge, and the judge says, we have a sanctioned agreement. It's most likely the judge is going to say, housing authority, take the unit over and lock the family out. Ouch. We don't want that. We never want that. But you got to do it at some point.
Yeah.
Right? You got to do it at some point. And
So if someone defaults on the repayment agreement, is there another conversation before that step?
our door is always open, Reverend. It's always open. And that's what's gotten some people in the trouble. They don't want to come through that door. And we've asked them and asked them and asked them, come through that door. So we'll always talk, but it gets more complicated as time goes, Rob.
And if I could add to that, Reverend. So when we went to court last time, they signed court repayment agreements, agreed to a judgment for possession, which means the housing authority technically got possession on the day of court, but would allow the tenant to remain as long as they abide by the terms of the agreement. So to make those payments, sometimes they haven't recertified, we incorporated recertification, things like that. So if they violate it, don't make payment, don't recertify, whatever it is, we would file for a certification for a warrant of removal, which means that we don't have to start over, we don't have to go to trial. It's just essentially saying they broke this agreement that they signed, giving them an opportunity to go before the court and present their argument on why they should be allowed to stay. But if they don't, within relatively short order, they would be locked out. Now, anybody who is in court on a non-payment of rent case, as opposed to something else, and everything we're talking about here is non-payment of rent, they would have until 3 days after the actual lockout to repay everything that was owed under the agreement and since. If they do that, the case is dismissed, they're allowed to stay. In the case of a lot of these, because of where we started, these are very high money debts. So unfortunately, the chances that somebody would be able to pay all of it on these is probably lower than it will be going forward. But if they do have all of that money within 3 days of the lockout, they would be allowed to stay. Housing authority is required by law to accept it.
We'd be glad to. Like I said, we don't want to do this, but like I said, the bar gets tougher. I mean,
Yeah, that's why, yeah. I mean, we see it every day at the shelter, how, you know, folks roll into homelessness. So that's why I'm asking, is there a safety net for them if they sign this agreement and then don't agree to it? What happens then?
And I think Commissioner Forbes, and I know sometimes it's hard, right? They at the date of the rent is due, they don't have it. I think the lawyer spoke about this last month where he said, if you go down to the housing authority, you speak with your manager, you speak with the director, they will give you some time to get that money together so you can pay it. But if you're not communicating with them, then how do you move forward?
I mean, I get it, they're not communicating, but if they're communicating, we will at least work with it.
They have to, yes.
And then the last thing is, Reverend Forbes, I know not only Hoboken Housing Authority, but other clients I've seen have been able to get a fairly good amount of assistance if they're on top of it. Now, if tenant waits until the day of court to start that process, I'm not sure how willing the housing authority is going to be to work with them. That'll be an authority decision. However, if they go now and start the process, they may be able to get some assistance from someone. So if there is anyone you know that comes to you or whatever, you can refer them to the county. I'm sure Hopes can help them. So there are some avenues for assistance, but it really would be the benefit to the resident to start that process as soon as possible.
I mean, we have not experienced anyone from the housing authority coming to us, but we have experienced folks from other authorities coming to Hoboken, trying to get services at the shelter. So that's why I'm asking, what are the safety nets for those who have said, okay, I'll do this, but I can't do it this month?
Yeah.
What happens?
Yeah. So we've always been willing to talk to them. Now, I do want to be clear, a lot of these cases that are the first cases since COVID, because remember the courts were shut down during COVID. Now that we're really actively moving, our first cases, many of them owe us a lot of money, right? Most of these don't owe us $500, $2,000. Some are in the 10,000 more, right? What's our highest?
As high as 50,
Yeah.
60.
And in a lot of instances, these agreements were spread out over a significant period of time
Right.
to lessen those payments.
We spread them out over 10 years, interest-free.
Interest-free.
Yeah. So, I mean, some of them are big money. And when we look at our tenants accounts receivable, which you might want to say something about, right? That has a direct correlation, right? This is part of our accounts receivable that we get hit over the head with from HUD, and sometimes rightfully so by this board, right? Why aren't we collecting our rents? And we need rent to survive as an organization. We get somewhere between about 70% of our funding through subsidy, but that 30% keeps the lights on that we get through rent, right?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Just want to understand the numbers. It shows total repayments, and I'll use the last column, of $855,265. And it shows that split between repayment agreements we've done and repayment agreements the court has done. Then you've got tenants accounts receivable 2 lines further down. Is the 855, I don't believe the 855 is part of the 1.3, right? Don't we have over 2 million? Those are 2 separate numbers, correct? They should be added together?
Frank, you want to jump in?
So that what you're seeing there is the 800,000 that you're seeing should be tied into the total tenant accounts receivable. But what we do have is a total of 2 million when you count out the bad debt, and that's what you're talking about, including things that will be written off. I believe Bill was explaining that we're going to have a big write-off this year, about 700 or 800. That's the difference that you're seeing. That's the bad debt that was written off. The repayment agreements that you see in the 800,000, it's broken into 2 sets of 400. One is internal housing authority repayment agreements, and the other one is court-ordered repayment agreements. Some of those court-order repayment agreements, unfortunately, a big chunk of that is going to come off because they have now defaulted. So that will then wind up in the bad debt because they will no longer be a tenant, it's active.
So we did not physically collect that?
No, what that means is that now we have a steady income on 800,000 of monthly payments. And that's, I don't have that in front of me, but it's 127, is it there? Families together?
Yes.
So 127 families are holding that $800,000. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just trying to tie it back into the balance sheet that shows 2.6 of tenants accounts receivable. Which would say those
I'm
two.
sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
I'm trying to tie this number back into what was, now this is for December and this is March, so there's 3 months difference. But the tenants accounts receivable as of December 31st was $2.6 million, which is double, which would be much closer to if you added those 2 together. So all I'm trying to do is get a sense. But you're saying the 855 is part of the $1.3 million?
It should be part of the $1.3 million.
Okay.
But, so
part of it is too that now, for those folks who are not in repayment, so the TAR is only representing the people that have entered repayment agreements. We have a lot of people who owe us money that have not entered into repayment agreements. So there may be like a double counting there, and I can get you more specifics on that for the next month. I could figure out a way to break it down better for the old money and new money.
All I'm trying to do is figure out is what is our true.
It is closer
All right,
to,
guys, you both talk at the same time.
it is closer to the 2 million if you include the bad debt. This is the active, current active tenants debt, what you're seeing.
Okay. And then maybe it's a question for Emil then, because I thought we didn't write off bad debt until the audit was completed.
Emil, are you there?
Is he allowed to talk to Emil?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I can ask the director. The question is, I've just heard, if I understand it, the total accounts receivable is about $2 million. This shows $1.3 million. The difference, I'm being told, is the amount of tenant receivables that have been written off.
Or inactive.
Or inactive. Okay, maybe inactive answers it. Because my understanding is we only write them off once a year when the audit is done. And obviously, we're halfway through the year, so we haven't written anything off yet. So I'm just trying to match the numbers.
I understand your question, and I will ask Emil, can you shed us some light on that, Emil?
Yeah, we haven't written anything off. I think Frank's report is showing the net amount. So it's still on the books, it's the gross, it's the tenant's AR less the allowance. But what Frank is showing is the net.
All right, so we've taken, all right, so you've taken the allowance, but you haven't written it off. Okay, got it. Thank you.
But if it would be helpful, we can incorporate that to the monthly report if that would be helpful too.
Yeah.
No, well, what I'm hearing is this is really the amount we hope to collect.
Yes.
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 Those are active.
Yes.
Active income sources.
That's right.
And that's a huge write-off.
That's a good way to put it. Right.
I got a quick question for Emil. Emil, why don't you reply to any of my emails?
I'm sorry, I would just like to interrupt this. Your questions can be referred to the director in reference to any emails that you are sending him. Commissioner David, Commissioner, was actually asking something about the financials. So, and the director said it was okay for Emil, but we're not going through this today, we're not doing this today. Any email, any information that you would like,
Director,
you can send to the director, and the director has 14 days to respond to you.
Can I talk
Thank
to Emil?
you.
Director, can I talk to Emil right now?
You're talking over the chairwoman.
I'm not talking over her. She's
I
done.
am done, director, but it's your call if you would like
I
him
have a
to
question.
say
This question's been asked many times, no answer yet.
So what is your question?
Can I talk to Emil?
Oh, what was your question, Emil?
My question to Emil is why he doesn't reply to my emails.
Oh,
Which
no,
has
I-
nothing to do with
I-
finance at
That
this
has nothing
time.
to do with this. I won't have you answer. I've answered you that in writing a number of times.
You have, in writing, refused to answer my questions.
No, I have.
Thank you. Can we please move forward,
I have told you, sir.
Director and
I'd like to
Commissioner?
get on the record that I've told him he can ask me any question, that it should be directed toward me in his email.
I reserve
I've made that very clear.
I reserve the right to read into the record Director Recco's emails saying that he will no longer answer my questions. I will reserve the right to do that at the next meeting when I print that email out.
That is your choice. Could we move forward, please?
Yes. Is there anything else? What do you?
Dave, do you have any further questions?
Okay. So moving on in my report, where was I?
I think we're.
Yeah, I'll get there.
Maintenance report.
Yes, I'll get there, thank you. Over to maintenance. Yay, we have 2 HUD inspections coming up, at least, in April. So residents, please bear with us. Probably by the end of April, we will have an inspection at Monroe and Adams from HUD, which means we will also be doing pre-inspections with our staff. And and we also will be having, on April 22nd, a HUD inspection at Harrison Gardens. They've already set the date for that. So get ready for us to be there, which is okay. They'll be here inspecting. I think Jackie and Sammy are continuing to do a great job. We are continuing to accept applications for maintenance folks. Our boiler crew continues to work. I will have to say that you don't know how hard they've been working this winter to keep you all warm. We had a major steam leak this past week at Harrison. They were there all hours of the night working under the buildings at Harrison to repair the steam line that had busted. We've got some deteriorated steam lines, and over the next couple of months you'll probably see us coming back to you with a request to do some preventative repairs over the summer of some lines that we're finding evidence I'm not going to sleep well next winter unless they're replaced over the summer. So we're seeing some serious deterioration on those lines. So I really want to give kudos to them for keeping the hot water and the heat going. We're getting in the home stretch here, right? A couple more months. Our maintenance crew has been making progress on painting and repairing of our units. As we walk out, take a specific look at the hallways out here and what's going on with our painting project. We're moving to the rest of our buildings as we move along, but I'm real proud of them moving along with that. I do have my reports on painting. We've done about 30 bathtubs recently. Again, our buildings, bathtubs, painting, our elevators, in some instances the past month have been difficult. Thank you for anyone that's had to have patience with those elevators, but we work on them just as fast as we can. And extermination and plumbing issues. On finance...
Director, I just want to ask questions on maintenance, if that's okay?
No, please do.
I know we received an email today, I don't know if you got a chance to look at it, from a resident at Fox Hills, and it was concerning the walls, the walls and everything else. And I have to be honest, I think for a senior disabled building, it is disgusting, some of the things that was shown in those pictures and what was written on those doors. Do we have any idea? Are we going to paint those hallways? Are we going to be?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes, we are. We're going to do the floors and the hallways. We have where's Happy Baby?
All right.
Yeah.
So we've just started up. We almost finished here.
Okay.
Just about minor touch-ups. But Fox Hills is a pretty big building, and for the staff that we have right now, it's kind of, I'm trying to get it together so that I can actually have people focusing up there, because it's 200 units and that's 3 wings. So the time, it's going to take us a bit, and we are working on moving up to Fox Hills, doing the floors and doing the painting projects. But again, I have to see how much manpower is willing, because it's going to tie into our daily process and our daily work, that it's going to have to be at night. So again, we're coming up with a plan and trying to make it happen as soon as possible. A lot of the painting issues that you see in the back stairwells are due to the pipe bursts that we get to fix the walls and plaster them and prime them, but we can't just get enough time to actually paint the full building like we started here at 220 Adams. But we are working on it.
No, I think that's great that you guys are coming up with a plan. I also, I'm looking at it from a different point of view as a resident. I'm pretty sure, Jeannie, you understand this. I think it's very important for us to communicate this to the residents, right? And so that they know that, look, we realize there's a problem, there's an issue, and we're working on it. We're coming up with a plan, and it's going to happen, so that we don't continue to get those emails. So I think it's just important for us to communicate with the residents.
Excuse me, so like you were aware in the report, we're not only doing the senior buildings, right?
No.
We're also doing the 3-story buildings, which, you got a lot of wear and tear with bikes and all that stuff. So it's gonna happen. It's not gonna happen from one day to another, but again, we'll get to it. We're definitely not gonna abandon that building. We will get to it.
Thank you.
My question, the report says both Monroe and Fox Hill. Are you doing one then the other, or are you doing them together? What's the plan?
So Monroe, what we were trying to do is try to get actually the base number on what would it cost for us to do it in-house, and what it's going to cost us to, if we have the manpower, we don't have the manpower out to subcontract it, because it is a lot of detail and a lot of work for them. people that we have in staff. So being the urgency that Fox Hills needs the attention, and 221 is not in bad shape, I'm gonna focus my time onto Fox Hills to get that taken care of first. But again, it's 3 wings, it's not just one entry. It's 3 sides that we have to get into, 10 stories. I mean, it's close to, I could probably say 10,000 square feet of painting. And that's not even just painting, that's floors as well, so, I'm sorry.
Have we considered going out?
That's what we're trying to do as well.
I thought you were saying that just for the road.
Just, no, in total. We will be providing numbers on labor, on material, and on, time, to see how long it's gonna take us to get that done.
And is that both painting and the floors?
Yes, as we did here. We did the painting in-house and the floors in-house.
The other thing we got, and we did talk about this at our meet and greet in Fox Hill this past month. I mean, we talked about it kind of extensively. I know we got a good turnout at Fox Hill, but not everyone comes. So,
thank you.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
No, Director, please continue.
Okay, so not everyone comes, but we've also got the project on the Phase 2 modernization at Fox Hill, which we're also going to be...
Commissioner Sanford, can I just advise you that we have no control over the HHA staff. We control the executive director. So if Sammy wants to sit down, he can sit down, and if the director feels that he wants to call him up to the mic, he can do so.
Well,
Thank you.
Sammy was answering questions from Commissioner Edwards, and then Sammy was going to go sit down, and I just...
But Commissioner Edwards was not asking him to stand there. You are. Thank you.
Is that an imposition?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Is that an imposition?
Speak to the director. Thank you. So we can also add it onto that project as well, but we will be doing that over this summer. We are absolutely going to be doing that project.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. And no, I haven't seen that email yet, but I will.
Okay, I figured that.
Right.
Commissioner Sanford, you have the floor. You want to ask
I have some
the question?
questions.
You can ask the director.
For Sammy.
Okay.
Just in the same way that Commissioner Edwards asked some questions to Sammy while he was standing there.
Okay.
Is that too much trouble?
No, it's not.
Well, and I do reserve the right to say that if I don't want Sammy to answer,
you don't have to.
I'll tell him not to answer.
Well, it's nice to know that I'm not being treated differently.
Absolutely.
Well, it was rhetorical. Well, I guess I'll just ask.
You can still ask.
The images that were sent in those emails about the graffiti, some of it was pretty vulgar. What's stopping someone from just taking a can of paint and painting over some of those more vulgar images
I think
tonight or
they
tomorrow?
explained that.
Well, I'll be glad to answer that.
I did not ask the question of you, Madam Chair.
I'll be glad to
Well,
answer
maybe
that.
if you paid attention, you would have your answer, Commissioner Sanford.
Well, I do pay attention. I pay quite a
Obviously, you
bit.
didn't, because he just spent 20 minutes on the microphone saying exactly answering the question you asked. But go ahead, Commissioner, Director.
We will be doing that. Yes.
Okay, when?
Within the next 24. I haven't
Within
seen
the
it.
next 24
Yeah,
hours?
I mean,
So
tomorrow.
I can tell the person that sent this
Oh, it's his
message?
person.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
See how simple that is?
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else on the financial that we went over in the Finance Committee? Going to be an interesting year, as we said. The Finance Special Procurement Committee went over some contracts. Those are in front of you tonight as we go through the board agenda. On our resident services, I would like to ask Sandy to come on up and tell you a little bit about somebody that won something from us as a result of our newsletter this time. Sandy?
Sandy Balinas, B as in beautiful, A-L-I-N-A-S. I got your attention, now that I have your attention. So I created a newsletter. I started in December and I created a newsletter in January, towards the end of January. So it was like the third week in January. And it had a lot of good information. And at the end, On the newsletter, the last page, I had a trivia question to entice readers, residents to read the newsletter. So there were two questions. One question is how many times is the name of the Hoboken Housing Authority is mentioned throughout the newsletter, so people had to read it. And at the time when I published the newsletter, it was published on the website. It was published, yes, on the website, and we put it on social media also that the newsletter was, was available. And we also printed some of the newsletters we printed. We didn't print 1,325 single one of them because there's a lot of paper, but we did print it some. We gave them to each of the buildings. Is that the correct term? The buildings. It was given to the managers. The managers were supposed to give them to the residents. So at least there were at least 25 per building. But I also sent the managers the electronic copy, so if a resident wanted to read it, they could go ahead and print it. So the questions that I had on the trivia was if you find the answer to how many times is the name of the Hoboken Housing Authority mentioned, and what is the name of the newsletter, which is at the very page, at the very front page, and they needed to give me the information before the board meeting last month. So we did have a lot of the residents from Fox Hills were the ones that submitted. I think there was 8 of them that actually submitted from Fox Hill. And out of the 8, only one person had the closest to the correct answer. Everybody was really off. There was one person that was really, really close to the answer. Her name is Maria Lavenia. She won a gift card to ShopRite, so that was really nice. And yes, so she got the gift card already. I'm sure she spent it already. And the next newsletter is coming out in April, so pay attention. Be on the lookout for the next newsletter. Do you want to?
I hear her husband eats a lot, so he probably.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes?
And I do want to say that I have made a decision on this first newsletter in a while that we didn't go door to door with the newsletters. That's going to change next edition. We're going to go door to door with the newsletter on the next newsletter. I was a little upset at myself for not doing that this time. Save a dime and waste a dollar, so we're going to make sure everyone gets it on the next one. So thank you.
Director, for resident services, I'd also like to say that this Tuesday coming up, hopefully we have Senior Game Day for all seniors at 301 Garden from 1 to 4 p.m. I sent it out today to you guys. So if you guys can make sure it's posted in the senior buildings, we'd appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And we continue, Ms. Becky couldn't be here today. She's out ill, but we continue with the food pantry every other Friday. The senior bingo at Monroe, Adams, Fox Hill, and newly formed at Christopher Columbus.
Nice.
Yes. Not necessarily senior, but
it works.
Yeah, it works. A crochet social at Monroe and Fox Hill, and of course the Made in Truth Society, a women's self-defense workshop, and our new project of monthly birthday celebrations at Fox Hill, Adams, and Monroe. You can see the schedule here in your agenda. If you get a chance, if you're in the neighborhood, stop by. It's really fun. Folks come down and we celebrate whoever had a birthday that month.
You jumping out of a cake, Director?
That was actually a required activity. So yeah, it's really going to be fun. They were a real success last night, just sharing some good feelings with folks. So I'd like to thank you all, and that is my report.
I'm in July, by the way.
Okay, we got you. The date? So that's my point, ready.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. So we can move forward,
I
or?
have questions.
Sure.
So since we just spoke about the newsletter, I have some questions. Can I ask those questions to Sandy?
No, please ask them to me.
Why is it that all of the questions from this commissioner need to go through you, but the other commissioners, their questions don't need to go through you?
Well, they have also been giving them to me. If we get into a middle of conversation and I've said Sandy can answer, then you wind up having an exchange. But it's the same way, I think.
That's not true.
Commissioner Edwards?
Commissioner Edwards just asked a direct question.
Hold on one second. Can we just keep it quiet, please? I'm trying to have a meeting here.
Yeah, Commissioner, just ask your questions.
I asked my question.
Please do.
Why am I being treated differently?
You're not.
I am
And I answered. Okay, so we can go yes and no, yes and no.
Okay, can we move forward with the question?
Director, who determines the content of the newsletter?
We work on it jointly as a staff.
Okay. And to the best of my recollection, I read the newsletter. My name appears in the newsletter as one of the commissioners.
I would
Is that
think
fair to
it
say?
does, yes.
Okay. I would like my name removed from all future publications of the newsletter.
I think that's
I do not want my name attached to any messaging in that newsletter.
Then I think you should be sitting on this board, Commissioner Stanford, and I'm not telling you as a chairwoman of this board, I'm telling you as a resident. I think that's quite disgusting that you sit on this board and say you represent the residents, and when we're trying to communicate with the residents what's happening, you're saying you don't want your name associated with it. So what are you doing on this board? Would you like to explain it to the residents that are present?
Thank you. Yes. I am trying to protect the residents from the criminal actions of a few bad eggs at this housing authority. And I hope to have your support, but I don't need your support. I have everything I need. I know exactly what I'm doing. So I thank you for anybody out there who has given me information or supported me in the past. In the meantime, I'm not going to put my name to anything about this newsletter, because I'm concerned that this newsletter is going. I'm answering the questions. Please don't interrupt me. I am concerned about the corrupt nature of this redevelopment plan and how badly tainted it is, and I do not want my name anywhere near it.
Listen, I understand you. I get you. Do I believe that you're here for the right reasons? Absolutely not. You have sat here for over a year with the same accusations that we have told you time and time again to take to the appropriate authorities, and nothing has been done. Nothing has been done. You have not brought the information to the director or to any other authority that we are aware of. So I feel like right now what you're doing is, you're continuously doing this, is defame not only the director but this entire board, because you're putting us all in the same place.
So, I have been sitting on this board for more than a year.
But for the last year, you've done absolutely nothing for the residents.
I've done plenty.
You have not. Thank you.
Now, the only thing that I asked for is that I do not want my name in the newsletter.
And I don't think that you should be sitting on this board. And I am asking the residents who are here to hear. Listen to this. Listen to this, because you have the right to go to the appointed authority and request that this commissioner be removed from this board. He blatantly stated,
Madam Chair, it is
that he doesn't want his name associated with the housing authority. So why are you sitting on this board?
Madam Chair,
It's a question.
It is absolutely clear that you and the other board members and the director and some other members of staff do not want me on this board.
Listen, if you sat here, whether I agree with you or not,
this commissioner from the board, and you failed. You all failed miserably to remove this commissioner from the board.
Commissioner Stanford.
Do you want to really go into the removal hearing? Council, you want to give a report on the removal hearing?
Listen, I just want to tell you that if you were doing the right things for the housing authority, whether I got along with you or not, I would respect you. But since you have sat on this board and done absolutely nothing that can help any resident here, no, I don't respect you. You're absolutely right. My opinion is that you do not deserve to sit on this board.
What was result of the removal hearing? Madam
Guys,
Chair,
listen,
what was the result of the
listen.
removal hearing?
I didn't get a copy, I wouldn't know.
This commissioner
I
was
wouldn't
exonerated.
know.
This
I wouldn't
commissioner
know.
was
Did you
exonerated
get a copy
for your
of it?
malicious, slanderous lies.
You're the liar,
Why are you
Jay.
slandering me,
Hold
everyone?
on, hold on. I got people from the audience.
Stop it.
Please, one at a time.
Stop it.
What was the result of the removal hearing?
I wouldn't know, I wasn't privy to the information.
Director Recco, you were there. What was the result?
Were you privy to the information? Did you get a report, Director? Thank you very much. So how would we know? So I guess you were the only one who added the information. And if the information was here and it wasn't
What was the
provided
result
to
of
the
the removal
board,
hearing?
it's absolutely unacceptable. I
If you're
wanna
gonna
say
keep
that.
telling people to have me
told you,
removed.
I'll answer your question if you want to, Commissioner.
Thank you.
We've told you repeatedly, our office had nothing to do with the removal hearing, was not present at the removal hearing, and has not been given any information of the
Thank
result
you.
of the removal hearing. So your answer to me is, I don't know. You clearly do, so share it.
You're the only one that knows. No one here else knows. Did you receive anything, Ms. Rodriguez? No. Thank you. Have you, Commissioner Forbes? Have you, Commissioner Edwards, received anything concerning a hearing?
Excuse me.
Thank you very much.
Director
So-
Recco, have you received anything?
No, I haven't.
Thank you. So now moving forward, anything else, any further questions
Does
you
the
have?
authority want to take an opportunity to apologize to this commissioner?
What? I'm sorry?
Because that hearing ended with a total failure of you guys to remove me.
Listen, I stand by what I say. You do not deserve. You do not deserve. I stand that you do not deserve to sit on this board because you don't stand for the residents of the housing authority. So I stand by whatever I said because nothing I have said has been a lie. Everything you have done in public and has been on the record. So I stand by what I said,
Do you
and
continue
it
to
is what
stand by
it
the
is.
charges presented at the removal hearing?
Was I present at the removal hearing?
You prepared those charges.
Okay, I'm glad you have the information. I don't know where you're getting it from. But like I said, whatever I have said and whatever I have done, I stand by because I am a resident of this housing authority. Okay? And I live day in and day out with everything that these residents deal with. Do you? Because you don't even, and I will say this again, you still don't have the respect to come within enough time to listen to the residents' concern. Because why? You don't care, and you prove it month after month after month.
I'm glad you brought that up. The reason I don't show up on time
Because
or
you don't
early,
care.
on time or
Because
early
you
to
don't
these
care. We
meetings
all
is I
sacrifice.
wouldn't show up on time to a criminal conspiracy.
Oh, okay, so then you don't, if this board is so bad, again, you do not belong on this board, again.
You guys
If that's how you feel.
You guys really messed up. All right?
Okay.
You did this removal hearing.
Okay.
It blew up in your face.
Nothing blew up in
It was
my
a criminal
face.
conspiracy.
Because I will stand by the fact that you do not belong on
This board
this
owes me an
board.
apology.
Sit and wait. Can we move on? Do you have any further
Of
questions?
course. I already had the question. I'm still waiting for an answer. Is my name going to be removed from the newsletter?
Not this month, it's already out. So in future months, as he stated, and it's on the record, Mr. Commissioner Stanford would not like to be on.
I'm in charge of the newsletter, and your comment is noted.
Noted. Is it going to be removed?
Your comment is noted. Thank you.
Anything further?
Yes.
I'm just gonna move over so I can.
I hope I'm loud enough. Usually I'm a little soft-spoken, you know. So page 1, under your national issues overview, you wrote, I have spoken to Ellis Wilson Henry, our primary HUD staff partner, on the issues.
Excuse me, could you tell him to quiet?
I'm sorry, can we please keep it out, keep it quiet in the audience? Thank you.
Director Recco, for maybe what is the 10th time, I would like to contact Mr. Wilson, or Ellis Wilson Henry, the primary HUD staff contact, to report violations of HUD policy and criminal violations. Will you give me, this commissioner, this government official's contact information to report HUD violations and criminal violations? Yes or no?
I need to speak on that. So I have asked, as you well know, Mr., I'll call him Mr. Henry, that you wanted his information. He said he does not give his information to board members because he works with staff. But he reached out to arrange a meeting with you, and I tried to arrange that meeting between you and he, and you refused to have that meeting. He has consistently said, yes, he will meet with you, but he does not give out his number or email to individual Housing Authority Board members. Now, he has been very open in saying he'll be glad to meet with you. So that's my first comment, is that, again, he's more than willing to meet with you. You've refused to meet with him. The only way you have said you would meet with him if you had his personal number, and he does not do that. But he would be glad to meet with you, and I know he'd still be glad for me to arrange that meeting with you. Second, if you're concerned with reporting what you say, I'm not going to say what you said about criminal activity, etc. There are so many ways you can do that. We've said this over and over again. There's the HUD local office. There's the HUD regional office. There's the HUD IG office. There's the HUD national office. You do not need Mr. Henry to report anything. You've got the Hudson County prosecutors. We'll give you a list of numbers if you want.
The Hoboken Police Department.
Listen, I'm not going to bother with your McCluskeys, okay? I want to talk to Mr. Ellis.
Okay, we'll be glad.
If he fails, I would like you to communicate to him, or I hope that he watches the videos of these meetings.
Me too.
If I would like to speak with him, if he does not contact me, I interpret that as willfully ignoring and willfully avoiding this commission.
So if he agrees to set up a meeting with you, that's not good enough for you?
The conditions by which you are referring to required to have HHA counsel in that meeting.
No, it did not.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And that is why I refused.
No, it did
I will meet with Mr. Ellis one-on-one. That's it. I am not going to have my attorney-client privilege violated again.
I also feel if you really want that information, you go on the HUD website, every single one of their staff members has an email and it's there, so I'm sure you can gather that information.
Then why
on your own.
Why can't you do that?
Because
why can't you get it?
Because you can get it. You can get it easily. You can get it easily.
It's
easy.
Answer.
And no, it's not. And once again, he was very open in saying, let me be the intermediary.
He was not open at all.
May I finish my sentence, sir?
You just keep lying.
No, I do not. This was very clear to me. He offered for me to be the intermediary to set up a meeting just between you and he. But again, his concern, and he's been in this business a long time, he does not give his email and phone numbers, personal email phone numbers, to board members. He works with Housing Authority staff.
But he does give it to other board members.
But may I finish? I will be more than happy to set up that meeting again and ask him if he would set it up and have that meeting, and we would do something like, okay, there's a call-in number set up for next Thursday at 10 o'clock. You call in, he calls in, the two of you are together, you're alone, good. That's what he wanted. So we would set that up again.
Absolutely
if
not.
At this
you cannot be involved in this meeting.
I wouldn't be involved in the meeting. I
He just said
that.
in.
Aren't you following me?
Please have Mr. Ellis contact me. I want
that's
to
up to
report
him.
violations to him.
That is up to him. And there's so many ways to report violations. Your duty as a commissioner, if you have...
Don't tell me my duty.
Yes, I will.
Obviously, you're not aware
I
of
will
it
tell
because-
you your duty, because
really?
your duty, yes, I will.
Well, why don't you tell us what you do?
May I finish, sir?
Yes.
May I finish? I believe your duty as a commissioner, if you see the executive director doing criminal acts, you should go to the HUD Inspector General, the county prosecutor. There's so many ways to do this. There's so many people to do this.
A smart man like him knows exactly.
The head of HUD in Newark is on. You can call them tomorrow. Their phone number is on the website. And for you to be delaying for what, years? Waiting to report a criminal activity by the executive director? That's an abrogation of your duty. I've said this to you before. You need to take some action, not sit around and argue over who's going to call who on what phone number. This is not setting up a date.
Do you stand by your testimony under oath at the renewal hearing?
Can we move forward? Does this have anything
Yes
to
or
do
no?
with the
Do you
director's
stand by
report?
it? Yes or no?
Because I don't think that was...
Yeah, I stand by everything I've said, so we'll go from here.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you. Can we move forward? Any further questions on the director's report? No? Okay, so
Yes.
resolution
Yes, I
number.
do.
Okay.
So, under Hoboken for Housing forward updates, there is a mention staff met along with RPM representatives with the Community Develop South Affordable Housing Subcommittee on
I'm
the
sorry,
City Council.
I'm sorry, the community development, I missed that part.
Community Development South Affordable Housing Subcommittee on the City Council along with city staff on February 18th. This meeting will brought the council subcommittee up to date on our progress. So first question is, who attended this February 18th meeting?
I don't have the attendance list in front of me. It was myself, Frank, Emil. I don't remember, I know from the city, do you remember Frank from the city?
I'm sorry, Ruben Ramos?
Ruben Ramos, Vanessa Falco, Giordano. I don't have the exact list, but I can get that to you.
Yeah.
I can pull that up.
Representative City Council.
Did you say Giordano?
I'll give you the exact list. Let me pull up the email. This was set up by the city, and there was several folks there.
Chris Brown.
Chris Brown was there.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I can get you that next minute too.
Sorry, I have it if you want me to check it.
Thanks, Emma.
Okay, Emma. You got it in front of you?
Yep, it was Chris Brown, myself, Frank, Soreco, Ruben Ramos, Paul Presenzano, Joe Quintero, Jim Doyle, and then city staff Jessica Giorgiani, Casey Wolf, Vanessa Falco, and Anna Holtzman.
Anna who?
Ann Holtzman.
Anna Holtzman.
Thank you. Thank you. When is the City Council expected to vote on approving the final redevelopment plan?
I'm sorry, the final zone reference?
When is the City Council approving a final redevelopment plan with RPM and HHA? I don't know that.
It's done. That's a city
No, it's not
council
done.
question.
Thank you. I don't know that.
Not a housing authority.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you. Moving forward, resolution number 2025-0201, resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to approve the meeting minutes for January 9, 2025, regular board meeting as revised.
I've got a question.
Sure.
Should we first and second first and then
Oh,
have
yeah,
discussion?
sure.
Because I haven't come in.
Okay. First, second.
Director, why don't you go first?
Okay, you'll see a slight change to the meeting minute format here in that on the meeting minutes from here on, we're going to be attaching the official resolution from last month's meeting. So, and thank you for Commissioner Edwards for working on this with us. I think it works very well. So when we say, for example, that a resolution was motioned and seconded, we will now be attaching that resolution to the back of the minutes, so there's no question what that final resolution was. So often, if a resolution was changed during the meeting, you will see in the minutes the final amended copy of that resolution. That's what I wanted to notice. You'll see that from now on.
And I think it's obviously I approve it. I think it's a great idea. It was your suggestion based on our conversation, so thank you for that. I do have a question on resolution 2025-02.08, but this was the one where we amended it, right? And I know we went back and forth on so many things. The only question I had here, we had talked about Does it need to include the?
I'm
those-
sorry, David, just the van in the bathroom. Just, the only question I have is,
Do we need to include, because we went back and forth on when these were due to be presented to us? Do we need to say by the previous Friday or something? Did we talked about that?
Sorry, Commissioner.
Yes,
Just to
go
answer
ahead.
your question, I know because you look like you're directing it to me. The requirement that it be submitted to the director and council is by noon on Friday. That was incorporated. So all of the changes that we discussed and that were read into the record were made to this resolution as you see it now.
It's the bottom of the.
So
be it
it's, I was gonna
further
say, it's the
resolved.
last paragraph, next to last line. Noon on the Friday of the week preceding the regular meeting.
I was focusing on the part we amended. Thank you. Then I move that we accept the minutes.
If I could, Richard, previously that said Wednesday, so that amendment was just to change Wednesday to Friday.
Yes. Well, we also changed the first.
Right,
part
I'm just
about-
saying that specific
Right.
amendment.
So again, I move that we accept the minutes. We already do that?
Yes.
Yeah, we did that, so we'd be ready for a vote, but I also want to make a comment that at least the comment was made that there would be some understanding if I get resolutions by noon on Friday that my board report may not go out till Monday because the resolution has to be prepared, et cetera, because traditionally, forever now, we've been putting them out on Fridays, and fine, but if we get stuck on with some things coming in Thursday, Friday, it might go out on Monday. We didn't make that part of the resolution, but I think.
I think we discussed it, but we were
That would
well
be
aware of that.
understanding. Thank you.
Mhm.
So,
Well, your executive director reports don't require a first and a second either. So.
that's right. That's right.
So there's a motion and a second. If there's no further questions, can we call the vote?
David Edwards?
Yes.
Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez?
yes.
Michael Russo? James Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitzman?
Resolution number 2025-0302, resolution authorizing the payment of the monthly list of bills for the Hoboken Housing Authority. Motion?
Second.
Questions?
That list of bills is not in the packet.
He doesn't have the list of bills in his packet.
You got it in yours, I got it in mine.
Is there an extra-
Commissioner, is there any chance you're looking at the minutes from last, I'm just asking,
Yeah.
the minutes from last month as opposed to the resolutions from this month?
We're in the second.
Is it second tab?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, found it.
So I have a few questions. On the administrative expenses, number 33, this is the first time, I went back, unless I missed it, that we're paying, I guess, what is this payment and for what loan is it? And it looks like it's a once-a-year payment?
Yeah, yes, it is. Go ahead, Emma. You've been involved in this for so long.
Yep, it is a once-a-year payment. It is based on a finding that HUD's Inspector General came in. They issued a report back in 2007 and said that the Housing Authority had misappropriated funds to the tune of, number, but it was about $600,000. Wow. And we had a 30-year repayment agreement back to HUD.
So that has, okay, so it's got nothing to do with the,
No,
The
this
other
was
one.
back in 2007.
okay. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Emil, can I have a copy of that repayment agreement?
We can get you a copy of that, I'm sure we can.
Can you get it to me tomorrow?
I don't know that, but
Can you
we'll
get it to
see.
me the day after tomorrow?
I don't know that, but we'll see.
How about next week?
We'll get you a copy.
You have 14
How about
days,
2
Director,
weeks?
to get the
I have
information.
14.
Can we move forward if we have any further
I'm glad you
questions?
brought that up, Chair. The director failed to provide information to this commissioner within the 14-day period. What is the board going to do?
Can
I have no idea what
suggest
you're
that
talking about, because we're not
talking
talking about
the
that at this
bills?
moment.
Well,
So you could bring that up in new business. Could we move on? Could we please move
I'd like to know
on?
more about this
Could we-
appropriation of funds. What, $600,000? That's a lot of money.
And I just said that he has 14 days to provide it to you. Could we move on with the list of bills?
Yeah,
You
just
can bring up your
keep moving
concerns
slowly.
during new business.
Keep moving slowly.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Under the maintenance expenses, I'm just looking at 52 FW Web for $55,000, 54 HD Supplies for $40,000, Home Depot for $2,300. And there's again, I'm just trying to understand. You've got plumbing. How do we, and then there's another plumbing down on 65. You've got janitorial supplies in 60. You've got janitorial supplies in 54. Do we have agreements for these purchases? How does this work? How do we end up with so many separate suppliers?
Sure. So Alan, want to jump in?
FW Web provides the bulk of our major plumbing supplies. The reason why it's $54,000 is there were 3 large purchases of hot water heaters. We'd had to replace them, and so we were replenishing our inventory on that. HD Supply provides us the majority of our day-to-day maintenance supplies, in addition to cabinets that we're using for unit turnover. Janitorial supplies are primarily in the common areas in our common bathrooms, so that's Imperial Bag and Paper. We don't have very much expenditures to. Hudson Heating is a local store that if our maintenance people are in the middle of a project, they need to run out and grab a few things. That's when we issue purchase orders to Hudson Heating.
Yeah, I understand there's another small one in there for $51 as well. I guess my question is, do we have long-term contracts with FW Web and HD Supply, or this part of any cooperative agreements? And it seems like huge numbers.
Sorry to cut you off, but yes, FW Web and HD Supply are part of cooperative purchasing agreements. Home Depot is part of a state contract. Hudson Heating is not, so we do monitor it to ensure that we don't go over our procurement, our 17.5.
Great, thank you. And then I have one more question, if I can continue. If you go to the last page, and this again is something I went back and looked over for the year, and part of it's, how often do employees get paid?
Every other week.
Bi-weekly.
So it's bi-weekly, so it's not twice a month. So some months they get 3 paychecks?
It's possible, yes.
Okay, that may explain it, because in May and October, the estimated payroll transfer was $510,000, and it's $340 for the rest of the month. So I was just wondering why the...
Yeah, those are 3 payrolls versus 2.
That's the 3 PR, got it. And what I understand, I'm assuming that the reason it's an estimate is because you don't know overtime and all kinds of other things going on during the course of the year. Is there any ever come back to, what happens if the payroll, let's just take the example, if the payroll for March was $350,000 instead of $340,000, what do you do?
We patch it up in our next month's list of bills.
Okay.
The estimate is based on the prior month action.
So the March number here is actually what you paid in February?
Yes, or thereabouts. It's a rounded number, but yes.
So I guess my question is why we couldn't get the exact number if it's the prior month?
We could do that if that's how you'd like to see it presented moving forward. We can get you the...
It just seems more consistent with the other. I mean, is it that much more work to do it that way? I mean, you would just have to add up 2 payrolls, right?
Well, we couldn't do it for March, right, now, because we're in the middle, or we're...
Right, but what I understood him just say, that payroll, that number 92 is actually what you paid in February.
Right.
So it would be done by now.
So we could change that word payroll transfer. Well, the transfer was done in March, but the pay was done in February.
You can't transfer money in March and pay it in February.
Yeah, right. Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
So help me out here. If I don't want to create more work for the sake of more work, but it just seems if we know what the dollar amount is, it should be the dollar amount, not an estimate.
Okay. Yep.
And it's a much smaller number, much less important number, but the monthly pension transfer is the same thing. That seems to be a consistent number. And is that again the same thing? It's just the prior month?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, unless there's some reason why it would cause you a lot more work, my suggestion is, let's do the actual numbers.
I understand.
Because that's actually what Barbara's signing when she sits over here and signs all the
checks.
the checks, right?
Well, not the payroll, but
not
the other checks. I don't sign
Oh,
payroll.
you don't sign it?
No, I sign the actual checks to the vendors too,
Okay.
but I don't do the staff payroll. I
So
don't.
the payroll is,
Payroll is done through ADP.
and it doesn't require our signature?
No.
That's correct.
Okay. That's all I had, thank you.
Emo, speaking of plumbing, I'm still waiting for the documents related, hey, why'd you shut it off? I'm still waiting for the information related to the Garini plumbing, the special procurement or the emergency procurement related to Garini plumbing. I don't think that was included in the information that I had requested from you and the director.
So I can take a look back, Commissioner, at what your written requests were, and I'll give you an answer on that.
The written request was for all material related to Garini plumbing. I am looking for the emergency award of contract to Garini plumbing. That information was not contained within the invoices that were given to me after the 14-day period. So I'm going to keep asking these questions because you guys keep dodging these questions.
I'll be more than happy to resolve that. So, and I would suggest that even if you drop me an extra email that says, hey, you've forgotten this, or how about that, do that during the week. There's no problem with that whatsoever.
I did that, and you made some accusations against me.
I don't remember the last time you've asked me about a Garini.
Don't worry about it, it's all in writing.
Right, don't worry about it.
Okay, so can we move forward?
Okay, let's move forward. Are we ready for a vote?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion.
We have a motion and a second on the floor.
Well, to remove line items 1 and 2, Fitzpatrick and Waterman, and Reno and Kavanaugh from the list of bills. I'd like to make a motion to remove line items 1 and 2, Fitzpatrick and Waterman, and Reno and Kavanaugh from the list of bills.
Do we have a second on the floor? Okay, we don't have a second, so. Director, do we move on now with the...
Ready for the vote? David Edwards?
Yes.
Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez?
Yes.
Michael Russo? James Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitzman?
Resolution number 2025-0303, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to increase the amount of the contract for defensible space fencing installation at Andrew Jackson. Second. Questions, concerns? Director Caldwell?
David Edwards?
Yes.
Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez?
Yes.
Michael Russo? James Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitzman?
Resolution number 2025-0304, resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to increase the amount of the contract for Harrison Gardens door replacement.
Motion.
Second. Questions, concerns?
I had a question, didn't somebody raise a question about a door at Jackson or another door? I guess that'd be a separate contract? Somebody,
Yeah, that was a different door.
okay.
I was talking about.
Yeah.
That
No
may
questions?
So if there's no further questions, Director, could you call the vote?
David Edwards?
Yes.
Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez?
Yes.
Michael Russo? James Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitzman?
Resolution number 2025-0305, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to increase the amount of the contract for courtyard improvements fencing at Harrison Gardens.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, does anybody have any questions, concerns? I have a question actually. Why are we increasing it? Is it costing more than now that they're almost done to? Are they doing any additional work?
Yeah, we can talk about it, and I think much of it, and I think Emma will get down in the degree, much of it was the work in getting rid of the dirt that they had to do some significant excavation under there. So that dirt had to be hauled away, and there were issues with that dirt, on disposal of that dirt, and the cost of actual disposing it. Emma, you want to add anything to that?
There was a change in the fencing that was specified in the balconies of the...
Oh, yes. In addition to
So-
that, the fencing, if you remember what the courtyard looks like when you get up on the what we call the balcony looking down onto the courtyard, the fencing that was spec'd was 6-foot fencing, and it looked terrible. So I insisted on a change back to the 3-foot fencing to look over that balcony area, so that cost us some dollars as well.
Thank you. If there's no further questions, could we call the roll, please?
David Edwards?
Yes.
Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez?
Yes.
Michael Russo? James Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitzman?
Resolution number 2025-0306, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to purchase a vehicle.
Motion.
Second. Questions, concerns?
I guess just to address the question that was raised earlier, I mean, this is done via the cooperative agreement, correct? So they do negotiating and they get deals that are good because they buy multiple vehicles across multiple entities.
That's correct. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, Emma, this is a state contract? Purchase?
The cooperative.
Yeah. So, it's quite a good deal.
Thank you. So, Director Colo?
David Edwards?
Yes.
Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez?
Yes.
Michael Russo? James Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitzman?
Resolution number 2025-0307, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award a contract for computer maintenance service.
Motion.
Second. Questions, concerns?
Yes, questions.
Sure.
What does Angel Consultant do? What does Angel Consultant do?
Angel Consultant is responsible for our computer systems at work. He deals with the technical side of how our fiber optic system works, how it goes down into our buildings, so our staff communicates. Angel is the fellow that we call when our computer doesn't work. Angel, our computer doesn't work. My printer isn't printing. There's a glitch. Word isn't working anymore. Excel isn't working. Angel, can we get a particular program that will work for project management or something like that? Angel will consult with us on all of those issues. Angel is the fellow that provides these cameras during this meeting and for the speakers, that type of tech assistance for us. Things we need, technical assistance in the computer age for. Angel's our go-to guy.
Does Angel handle the production of these meetings with the video?
Yes.
And is Angel in charge of posting those videos to the YouTube and Facebook sites?
Yeah. Who actually posts those? Does Laura?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Angel posts on the YouTube video, and Sandra posts on social media, which is X, Instagram, and Facebook.
Okay.
And who is responsible for maintaining the accuracy of those records?
I think overall I am as the Secretary of the Housing Authority. Yes.
Which you would then delegate to the two people who just spoke up.
Yeah, I would delegate that. Yes.
And who maintains the accuracy of the website? The Hoboken Housing Authority website.
Yeah, I think Sandra on our staff works on the website.
Okay, thank you.
So there's no further questions or concerns, can we call the vote?
David Edwards?
Yes.
Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez?
Yes.
Michael Russo? James Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitzman?
Resolution number 2025-0308, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award contract for general legal services, Award 1. And it's for Dakotas, Fitzpatrick, Cole, and Giblin. Right, am I right? Am I reading that part?
Yes.
LLP, Fitzpatrick, and Waterman.
Yes.
Motion.
Second.
I'd like a point of order. I requested information on this law firm on Friday, the moment that this agenda went out, and I still don't have that information about this law firm.
I think all the information is compatible. Anything you put in writing.
What is the reason? What is the reason for retaining this service? And the next one is also, the next resolution is also for general legal services. Why are there two resolutions for general legal services? Why is it being split?
Director, would you like to, because I know we went over this in our committee meetings with Commissioner Sanford, would have been a part, he would have had the question.
Yeah, so you actually asked me two questions. I think in your email to me the other day, you asked for contracts with Dakota's Fitzpatrick, Cole, Giblin. There are no contracts because it hasn't been passed by the board yet. So no, I couldn't provide you contracts. And we haven't made any payments, so we haven't made any payments, so I couldn't give you those. Now, I can address why we have thought that we need two law firms with us this year. We are going to have a lot of work. We've got a lot of work coming in. We've got our eviction process cranking up. We've got our redevelopment process cranking up. We've got policy issues with HUD. My opinion, along with the board members at our subcommittee, was that we would like some additional legal coverage. That as executive director, I would be able to have the ability, and by the way, we do this with architects, if you remember. We'd have the ability to say, this job works well for this law firm, this project works well for that law firm. Now, our plan here is to continue with Fitzpatrick and Waterman as our principal general counsel, but start also working with Dakota's firm to start giving them some work. As we bring them on fresh, you know, it's going to take a couple months to get them situated, to decide what they can do best for us, and expedite some projects for us. So this gives me the ability as the executive director to have two legal firms in my tool belt to be able to assign work to either of those firms.
So the RFP that went out for this service, is that available?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
All right, so you could present that RFP to this commission?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Now,
Now,
in
I
terms
will
of...
repeat this because we went this through before, that I will request that anything you ask from me for this meeting, you put in writing.
Of course, that two-week delay of yours is crucial to your job.
No, to give,
So-
no, that wasn't my point.
It is my point.
Okay, but it wasn't
You
my
take
point.
2 weeks consistently, you never
Right.
do it the next day.
So.
You consistently do
Okay,
it.
can we move forward? He just asked that you
Yeah,
put
I'm
it in
trying to move
writing.
forward. So, here's a point of contention, all right? I have the latest Fitzpatrick and Waterman service level agreement that defines all the terms of representation and billable hours and what I can expect as a client, as a commissioner client in that agreement. That is not before me or the rest of the board at this time. So why would we approve anything at this time when I have no idea what I can ask or what kind of questions I can ask of this general legal services provider?
So, I'm not sure we're talking on the same page. What you're doing,
We're not.
what you're doing is approving for us to enter into a contract with Dakota's Fitzpatrick, Cole, and Giblin here. And once this is approved, we will then produce a contract and we will sign it together. That gives us the authority to do all that. The contract for this work does not yet exist. It will not exist until after the board approves the contract.
Okay. I want to see the agreement before we vote to approve it.
And that would be the...
Well, it's not, it doesn't exist, so yeah, it doesn't happen that way.
That's...
The only thing I can say is, Commissioner Sanford, had you chosen to be part of committees, you would have had all this information.
I am not part of committees because I will not participate in any of the crimes that you're doing. Got it? Got it. Now,
Thank you.
What kind of due diligence did you do for Takatis Fitzpatrick?
I'm sorry, what due diligence did you?
What kind of due diligence did you perform for Takatis, Fitzpatrick, Cole, and Gibbon?
So this was passed to our professional procurement committee. We went over the proposals in detail. By the way, we know of this firm. They have worked with us in the past. We know of their reputation, and we are pleased to have them come aboard as one of our consulting attorneys.
So you just mentioned proposals. So
Yes.
there is a proposal from this law firm.
Yes.
I would like to see that proposal before voting on this resolution.
Okay. Duly noted.
Duly noted or duly ignored?
But
Duly ignored.
Commissioner Sanford, this was reviewed by the Professional Procurement Committee. You're welcome not to vote on it, and you're welcome to suggest not voting on it today. But there were 3 commissioners on this board who did review that proposal, and based on that, we've made the motion today.
And you've done a wonderful job rubber stamping it all the way up to the board. Now, the board has the responsibility to review the business of the authority. And I am wanting to review that business. I want to see the proposal. Why can't I see the proposal before voting on it?
Because we've already reviewed it. And
You've not already reviewed it. The Housing Authority has not reviewed it.
We have.
The three-person board is not the Housing Authority. If you're trying to assert that that somehow has any kind of merit or worth, then that's a violation of the Open Public Meetings Act. Because you need to have 4 to have a quorum. We're having a vote right now. I don't have the information. That information is being withheld.
Well, you knew this was on the board.
So, please.
Well, you knew this was on the agenda. You had plenty of time to request
I
it.
did not.
You didn't request it
I
in
requested on
time.
Friday. No one got back to me. Director keeps stonewalling.
That's not true.
Oh, it's not? Well, where is the proposal?
It was reported in last month's executive director report that we were going out for a request for proposals for legal services. It was been clear. I've stated that, and our regular process here is that our committee reviews it. Let me just finish this, and then no formal action is taken until the board votes on it. And now we're at the point where the board is going to vote. You
Were
can
there
choose
bid
how you want to
evaluations?
vote.
Were there bid evaluations?
There absolutely was.
Yes, there are.
Can I see those bid evaluations?
Yes, you
Before the
can.
vote?
Please put that in writing to me as well.
So what due diligence, Mr. Edwards, did the procurement committee perform on this Takatis law firm? I'm just going to refer to him as Takatis since that's the first name.
Each of us took the proposal, we reviewed it.
We discussed it.
We discussed it. We discussed it with the director based on his experience. We then have there is a evaluation system that gives a certain number of points for certain parts of the proposal. Each of us completed that, and based on that completion, we felt that they were qualified to present them to, and I disagree with your statement. I was not speaking for the Hoboken Housing Authority. I was speaking for the committee. And I was speaking that right now there is a motion and a second before us for a vote. And it is absolutely, definitely up to the people sitting here. If you so choose that you want information before you want to vote, that is your decision. But there's 2 people here who said they want this to be voted for by all committee members. If your statements convince others that this is not the time to do it, then that's a decision that this committee will make.
Let's make something absolute here. It's not a decision, it's not a whim. It is the responsibility of each and every commissioner to review the material before votes. The material is being routinely held from the board and this commissioner to make uninformed votes.
I want to put on the record before we move forward that is absolutely not true. Commissioner Stanford has been given the opportunity to participate in all committees
I've been
he
removed.
has. That's not
removed
true.
me from the procurement
That's
committee.
not
That's a
true.
goddamn lie.
I am
You removed
so
me from the
sorry
procurement
that you
committee.
didn't get the committee that you wanted. I'm sorry. We all didn't get the committees that we wanted. Am I right or wrong? I don't think anybody put in a special request to say, I want this committee and this is what I expect you to have. Am I right or wrong? That's not how it happened.
Madam
And
Chair,
you
you're removed from the
decided,
procurement
you
committee.
decided
I volunteered for the
to
redevelopment
email,
committee. You kept me off the redevelopment committee.
you decided to email the lawyers and tell them that you would not participate in any of the committees and that you would not allow us or myself, I'm speaking for myself, let me not speak for the entire board, to communicate with you. So at this point, there's nothing further that I can say. The information that you're requesting could have been given to you had you chosen to participate in committees, but you chose not to. So the information you're giving here to the public is absolutely false.
Madam Chair.
He put that in writing to the lawyer that he did not want to participate in any committee. So can we move
Madam
forward
Chair,
now?
this resolution first appeared on the agenda on a Friday afternoon before
It
5
was
o'clock.
discussed last month when you were unfortunately not
I replied
here.
to that email, do not interrupt me, I replied to that email requesting information on a Friday during business hours, and there was no response.
I'm sorry
There was no
that the
response on
director-
Monday, there was no response on Tuesday, and the director still won't give me the information.
Well, I am sorry.
Why is this council, or why is this commissioner, and why is this board member being kept in the dark?
No one is
on
keeping you
this-
in the dark.
Then
You
where's the
choose,
proposal?
you choose
Oh, all right,
to be
motion,
kept in the dark
motion.
because you don't want to be part of the committee. So if you have a motion, come on, let's put it on the floor.
Motion to table the resolution until all
Okay, there's
board
a
members
motion.
have the.
Do we have a
proposal.
second?
Yeah.
Your second?
What? What are you talking about?
Thank you, Jeannie.
You're gonna, okay, so can we call the vote?
I can't remember the last time someone seconded the resolution. around here.
He's saying that he doesn't,
Thank you, Jeannie.
okay, so
Thank
you just second his motion to table it. So do you want to table it?
No, I don't want to table it because you've got me all confused though.
I can't, so can we call the vote? Let's call the vote on
This
it.
vote is on the resolution to table this.
So you wanted to table it then?
So voting on the resolution
To table.
Table.
Yes.
the resolution.
You taking the vote?
I am. Dave Edwards.
Opposed.
Anthony Forbes. Barbara Reyes.
Opposed.
Gene Rodriguez.
Opposed.
Michael Russo. James Sanford.
Yes.
Okay, so now there's another
We're still
motion.
gonna have a discussion, I'm trying to understand, since the proposal's being denied from me, I'm trying to understand what due diligence the three of you.
We already explained this. We're not going over this. We're not doing this for 3 hours because you chose to come to the meeting tonight. That's not what we're doing.
Yeah, I chose to come to the meeting. This is I have every right to be here.
You do.
Despite
Yeah.
despite
Despite the fact that you don't care about our residents. You're absolutely right.
During your discussions on Ducatus, what information did you learn about this law firm? Did you do any Google searches
I'm sorry.
about this law firm?
I don't remember if I did or I didn't.
Okay. During any of the discussions about Ducatus,
Are you interpreting that we're not big enough to make these decisions? Because that's how I'm taking it. I'm a little
Well,
bit
if
offended.
you'd wait for the question, then you'd know that what you just asked is wrong. Now, during your discussions, did it come to your attention an article by Politico entitled
Of course.
Emails reveal prominent law firms were among donors to Cattle's dark money groups by Matt Freeman, dated April 6th, 2022. That article come to your attention at all?
Why would it? What does that have to do with this?
Okay, fair enough. There's just so much information about the Ducatus out there. So
He did his due diligence.
In that-
So you should
in
be
that-
able to vote.
in that article, it details approximately $200,000 that Ducatus donated contributed, to the New Direction PAC. Are you familiar with that? Okay. Is any other member of the committee, the procurement committee, familiar with that contribution?
I can't speak for the other committee members.
Okay. Were there any HHA staff that was there to assist you with the due diligence of this?
The director was there, the CFO was there, and the director of redevelopment was there, and our director of communications was there.
Director of redevelopment? Is that, you're talking about Frank?
Correct.
Okay. Did any of these staff mention anything about Ducatus's contributions of $200,000 to the New Direction PAC?
No,
Do you know who the New Direction PAC principally was founded by?
I do not.
That would be Governor Murphy.
This has nothing to do with politics. I am so
It has nothing to do
confused.
with-
Why are we making this about politics right
It's not about
now?
politics. That's not about politics.
It's not.
Now,
This is about trying to get a contract.
During your,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Part of the application process is political contributions. And so there is a listing in the packet that we received, both federal contributions and state contributions. So that information was available and included in the decision-making process of this committee member, and I'm assuming the other committee members.
That's music to my ears. I would love to have that information. I just don't have it right now. Where is it?
You should have participated.
I'm participating right now. This is my time to ask questions about this vendor. This is exactly the time to do it. You took me off the procurement committee, so here we are. So where's that?
That's why you're so bitter?
We're better. I'm enjoying myself. It's so much easier when Russo isn't here. You have no idea how to handle these people.
Okay, that's fine. That's your opinion.
So, Commissioner Edwards, where's that information on donations?
It's part of the packet that was presented to the committee.
Okay. So why can't the full board be presented that information?
I don't know why it can't. My experience on boards like this is you create subcommittees to be able to review information so that every decision that's made by a board is not reviewed by everybody. And we come to you and those who are not part of that committee with our recommendations based on what we have found. It is helpful to have others who have other experience to bring that up as part of the voting process. But boards would grind to a halt if every single person had to review every single piece of information before any decisions were made. You may prefer it that way, and you can make that motion that we eliminate all the boards if you want, but that isn't, may I finish? That is a different decision than what we've got before us right now with the motion. So in answering your question, all that information was in the package that the subcommittee reviewed, and based on our review of that information, we are proposing that the full board approve our recommendation. You are entirely within your rights to vote against it, however you wish to vote, for whatever reason you wish to vote. But that is our recommendation.
And what you are doing is withholding information from this commissioner and to prevent this
Okay, so since we're being redundant about what we're saying, could we move forward with further questions? If not, I will just move forward with the vote, because I think I've given more than ample time to have discussion over this
during your
resolution.
review of Dakatis, to what degree did you discover in your due diligence a relationship between Dakatis and a political operative by the name of Sean Cattle? Sean Cattle.
Again,
Seancaddle.
political. This has nothing to do with it. Can we move
Let's make sure,
forward?
I'm going to clarify. It's not
Can we just
political.
take a vote?
Mr. Caddell recently was convicted of hiring 2 hitmen.
Okay. I'm glad you should do this much due diligence with every other resolution that benefits our residents.
Mr. Caddell was involved in a murder to hire plot.
Was that Dakotas? Did Dakotas do that? Because you're saying it was someone else.
I'm trying to,
Okay, okay,
there is a
but did the Dakotas do
based
it?
upon the,
My question is, did Dakotas do it?
that's a great question to ask.
Did they-
I'd
did
like
they
to
do
ask
it?
them. I'd like to ask them.
Okay, but do you have information that we lack, that they did that?
I'm
Because
asking
if
you.
they didn't do it, that's not our business, and we are going by what was presented to us in the packet.
Madam Chair, this is publicly available information.
Okay.
You can-
That's so funny how you can get all this public information, but you cannot get Ellis's number from HUD. That's amazing. I'm just saying, right? Because he does his due diligence with everything else, I'm just saying.
Because Barbara, that's
So,
not-
so we can
that's not
see
the
what
point.
this is here.
That's not the point. So, back to my question, Commissioner Edwards. Did you, during your review, did you discover any of these connections between Dakatis and this person, Sean Caddell?
I didn't.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
I said I did not.
Are you aware that based on public information, that Mr. Cadell, his information or conviction had launched several state and federal investigations?
May I ask you, where is the connection between this person and this law firm?
Well, because as I understand the article, and I'm paraphrasing, so I want to make sure that if I say something inaccurate, it's a mistake. My understanding of the publicly available information is that the Ducatus law firm engaged Mr. Cadell through various dark money groups to engage in political activities.
I hope they're listening to this.
Yes, I hope they are. I hope they are.
Because if you're wrong,
Because
it's disgusting.
No, it's because this commissioner has...
You do your due diligence, but you don't do your due diligence to contact her.
Madam Chair, this commissioner has been threatened.
The officers back there, if you'd like to make a report.
Wonderful. Officer, is there an officer still in the building?
There absolutely is, if you'd like to make a
Okay.
report about being threatened.
Officer, what's the status of my police report to the city of Hoboken? I do. Can I meet you afterwards?
Sure.
Okay, thank you, sir. See, I do report crimes.
Great, that's great. They're just not reporting the ones that your duty is to report, obviously.
Madam Chair.
But could we
Why-
move forward? Director, could we please call the vote now?
I'm
I've
trying to
given
have
ample time.
trying to have
Director, could we call the vote? If Commissioner Stanford so feels that he does not want to vote, he does not have to vote.
What are the have you investigated the
Director, could we please
possibility
call the vote?
that the Ducatus law firm is under investigation? Have you done that due diligence?
Could we call the vote?
Is there any possibility that they are? Why would we want to be associated?
Could we please call the vote, Director? I will not let this go any
Commissioner Edwards,
further.
would you give me an
Discussion
answer?
period is over.
Yes,
There's
that's correct.
No, the discussion period is ongoing?
It's over.
There has,
As the chairwoman, I have the right to say that it's over and call the vote. So Director, I would like you to call the vote.
you might as well do it.
So, the vote, David Edwards.
Yes.
Anthony Forbes.
Yes.
Barbara Ray.
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez.
Yes.
Michael Russo, James Sanford.
A bunch of shady people. No.
Erica Seitz.
Is that what you call residents of the housing authority, shady?
I call you
Yes.
shady.
I'm okay.
How's Barb's
Resolution
cooking
number,
doing?
resolution.
How's your illegal business? How's Barb's cooking?
It's whatever you want to make of it. Resolution number
I call it shady.
250309, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award a contract for general legal services award to Dakotas, Patrick, Cole and Giblin, and Fitzpatrick and Waterman. Wait, is this the same resolution?
No, so this one's for Fitzpatrick and Waterman, the last one was for Dakotas.
Okay, well, they say the same thing, right?
It's just listing the names of the proposers on each.
Right, at
So
the
the
top.
first one
Okay,
that was
motion.
approved was Dakota's.
And this one is actually for Fitzpatrick.
Correct.
Sorry.
So, we've
The
got.
motion?
I motioned and he seconded.
Second.
Mr. Forbes seconded.
Could we move forward with the vote? This is the
No
same thing.
questions. Council, did you receive an email from me at approximately 6:30 this evening?
I'm going to defer to the director if he wants me to answer that.
You can answer that.
I have no idea if I received anything from you at 6:30. I was sitting here.
Okay. Similar to the last meeting I attended, I would ask council to review their email before we vote on this resolution because of conflicts of interests existing amongst this board.
Duly noted.
Are you going to
Are we
review the
ready
email?
for a vote?
Are we ready for a vote?
Motion to take a 5-minute break so that council can review their email.
There's a motion on the floor. Would anyone like to second it?
Jeannie, do me a favor.
No.
No?
Got me once, you're never gonna get it.
5-minute break. No?
I'd like to ask, Matt, are you okay with, or would you like, I mean, it would be up to.
It's up to the board. I'm not sure what this email would have anything to do with this board voting on a proposal.
Okay, that's fine then. So the answer is no.
Yeah, this.
Okay, so there's no motion, it fails,
this-
it fails.
Okay.
Moving forward, what's your
We're still
next
having-
question?
We're still having a discussion, so. Who did the due diligence on this one?
Ask and answer.
Thank
No,
you.
it's
Moving
not asked.
forward,
It's not asked and answered.
Yes, we
I
said-
asked questions on the resolution.
and he
Wait,
spoke
this
it
is
as a
not-
whole.
So did you do the due diligence?
Okay, asked and answered because the RFPs that came in were for both Dukakis and for Fitzpatrick and Waterman. So all the answers that I gave you previously about the process of how it works, about the scorecard, about the due diligence, about who was at the meeting, about all those discussions is exactly the same as the way I answered you at Dukakis.
All right, so during your due diligence discussions, who were the three commissioners that voted to advance this resolution?
Councilman Russo, Chairperson Reyes, and myself.
Okay. Now,
We make up the professional procurement committee
Yes.
as appointed last June at the annual meeting.
Yes, I just asked that question for the official record. So, do you recall earlier, well, I guess it was the middle of 2024, when the chair was caught operating an illegal business on housing authority property?
And I would ask what that has to do with the resolution to approve a legal firm for general counsel services.
That is a great question. I'm going to answer it. The reason why it's relevant is because I've sent a multitude of emails to the director and to HHA counsel Fitzpatrick requesting a legal opinion on the legality of the chair's business. And I have not received any information on the investigation into that matter or a legal opinion as to whether that business was illegal or not. So the reason why I'm asking the question is the director and his counsel ignoring the activities of the chair in order to have favorable procurement on this resolution?
It has nothing to do with our proposal, but I'd like to point out for the record that the emails to us were in violation of authority policy requiring that everything go through the executive director.
Yeah, violate an official act by the chair to prevent this commissioner from doing oversight. Thank you for mentioning that. So,
Can I answer your question?
yeah, absolutely.
I do not remember which meeting it was, but if you go back, the executive director had a discussion in his executive report, in writing, about the outcome of the activities of the chairperson and the actions that were taken. So from my perspective, not knowing your emails, this issue was already addressed. And it was addressed in writing, in public, at one of these meetings. It may have been a meeting you chose not to attend. And you know what? That's up to you. There's written information that you can go back and look at in the executive reports. I'm quite happy with the way it was resolved. I'm quite comfortable with the actions taken, and it is the basis, it's one of the bases on which I am proposing that this resolution be approved.
Since you're familiar with that report, what was the conclusion? Did the chair violate the law?
If I could, you're talking about information having to do with someone in their capacity as a tenant. Were anyone to answer that question and disclose information about a tenant, they would be potentially committing a felony. And by forcing them to answer it, you may expose yourself. But
And that's why I sent you an
the
email.
advice to the authority is that is private tenant information.
Thank you. Thank you.
Director Echo, what investigation, if any, did you do into the chair's illegal business?
I'm sorry, into the chairs.
Illegal business. Allegedly illegal business.
Yeah, allegedly. I didn't know she had, I don't know that she had an illegal business, and the matter was closed by the city, and it was over.
Well, what was your investigation?
I waited for the city.
Thank you.
That's the city's
Did
issue.
you direct at any time counsel to do an investigation?
No.
Okay. Now, if hypothetically, we can do hypotheticals, right, counsel? If, hypothetically, a tenant operated an illegal business from their apartment, would that be a violation of their lease?
Hypothetically, that could be, and I will say could be because there's a lot of qualifications there.
Very well. So, hypothetically, by not doing an investigation, could that be interpreted as special treatment?
No.
No, it's not special treatment.
No, absolutely not. And there's confidential tenant action here that was taken, that I'm not ready to talk about here, that was taken to address this. And I don't get in front of everyone and say what notices I sent a tenant according to their lease. So, and that is not public information.
Okay, here, what is public information is HUD policy. Is it accurate to say that HUD policy does not afford tenant commissioners special treatment?
Oh yeah, I would say that's true. That's probably, I don't know what HUD policy is on that, but I don't give special treatment.
My understanding of HUD policy is that a tenant commissioner is no different from any other commissioner.
Correct. That's true. Or any other tenant.
So,
yeah.
Why are we affording special treatment to the chair?
We didn't.
I'm glad you feel that.
I completely refute that statement.
You
We
completely
did
refute
not.
that statement.
I treated this tenant just like I treated any tenant.
And now,
And you
because this is, again, this has nothing to do with what we're speaking about.
Madam Chair,
We can bring it up in new business if you
Madam
would
Chair, I'm gonna ask you-
would like to. But right now, on the table is the resolution to approve the legal services for Fitzpatrick and Waterman.
Madam Chair.
What you're speaking about has nothing to do with their contract currently or us actually
Madam Chair.
voting on this.
Madam Chair.
So I would like to move on.
Madam Chair, I am asking you to recuse yourself from voting on this resolution.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Again, I have to ask you.
I appreciate you asking me, and
From
my
this
answer is
resolution.
absolutely not.
Again, I need to ask you.
And again, I will not repeat it again, I will absolutely not. I will not. Thank you very much. So, can we call the vote?
Next question. Next question.
Could we call the vote, because this had nothing to do with this.
Next question. In the December, the most recent December meeting, an HHA resident came to the public forum here, got up, had the courage to speak, and made reference to a commissioner on this board allegedly stealing packages. What investigation, if any, has...
Misinformation
What
again.
investigation, if any,
It wasn't
what
a
investigation,
commissioner.
if any,
Right.
has
It wasn't a
council
commissioner.
or the director done?
I do not remember.
It was not a commissioner.
I do not remember anyone getting up saying a commissioner had stolen a package.
That is, listen,
That's
you
not what
have a
was
very
said.
bad memory, because in January, when I did come to the meeting, I asked you the same question, and you said you were...
But those were not the accusations that were made. You're absolutely wrong, and I would suggest that before you put them in the public, you would go back to your minutes.
What were the allegations?
You're bringing it up. That's not up to me. You
Then-
do
then
your
you're
due
saying- You're saying
diligence.
that's not the allegations. That is the
So,
allegation.
because there was never an allegation of any commissioner on this board stealing any package. Has never been. So I don't know where your due diligence is coming in or
I
what
watched-
information.
I
Okay.
watched the December meeting.
So then you misinterpreted it. You misinterpreted it.
I watched
You
the
misinterpreted
resident
it.
say that there were two people, one of which was a commissioner, was involved in stealing
Absolutely
a
not.
package.
Absolutely not. That's not what was said at all. But because again, this has nothing to do with this executive director, I'm asking you once again to please call the vote.
Wait, I haven't gotten a response from either
Anthony
director.
Forbes?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Commissioner Rodriguez, I need to ask you to recuse
Katie
yourself from this vote.
Rodriguez?
You gotta
Please,
stop screaming
yeah.
over each other. I can't take.
I'm sorry,
people
it's
speaking.
10
I
to
know
1.
you're sorry,
I apologize,
but
I'm
you-
sorry, it's 10 to 1. Commissioner Rodriguez, I need you to please recuse yourself from this vote.
So, where were we on the vote?
You are on Commissioner Rodriguez. Did you?
Jean
record it?
Rodriguez, did you vote?
Yes, I voted.
Michael Russo, James Sanford, Erica Sykes.
Resolution number 2025-0310, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award a contract for special legal services litigation to Joseph Manfredi and Associates, right? Yeah, and Associates.
Correct.
Motion.
Second, I'm sorry.
Discussion?
Director, can you call the vote?
David Edwards?
Yes.
Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Barbara Riggs?
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez?
Yes.
Michael Russo, James Sanford,
Abstain.
Erica Seitz.
Resolution number 2025-0311, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to establish minimum labor standards for security contractors.
Motion.
Second.
I got a question or two here. I am supportive of the concept. I guess I'm just trying to understand. It says that if I'm reading this right, the now therefore paragraph, that the amount that will get paid will be equal to the monetary value of each of these three components of the compensation provided by the collective bargaining agreement covering the largest number of hourly employees employed within Hudson County for relevant services, provided such agreement covers no less than 200 employees. Where do we get that information to know we're complying with it? Who's the standard? How is it calculated?
Yeah, so I don't know if you want to address, but I'll certainly address it. You can get online and find out who the largest collective bargaining agreement is for security services in Hudson County. By the way, it's no secret, it's the fellow that was standing there at the beginning of the meeting represents that collective bargaining agreement holder. And so you would contact them, a contractor would contact them and find out what their collective bargaining agreement compensation is, right? And that would change year to year. And at the time that we bid this, the contractor would have to agree that when we enter the contract, they would pay something equivalent to that collective bargaining agreement. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does, although I guess, and maybe, do they then say we're paying $20 an hour and pension's worth $3 an hour and the other overtime's worth $6 an hour, so if you're just going to pay flat dollars, you got to pay $29?
Correct.
It's that level of detail?
Yes, correct. They would have to do that, yes.
Okay, great. You've answered my question. Thank you.
I just want to say something in reference to this. I know that we have a security company in place, but I'll be totally honest with you, as a resident, I hear nothing but complaints about it. I hear that one of the things that he did say today was usually when you go into contract with them, that you kind of have the same officers all the time. They become familiar with the residents, and I think that's really what we need, right? We need someone that our seniors, who are the most vulnerable, are comfortable with. That's first and foremost. Second of all, that they're doing their job, because from what I hear, that's not even happening correctly. I spoke to you about this, Director. I went to an event over at Foxtail for a family there, and as soon as I walked in, the first thing I had was complaints about the security there. So we're spending all this money, but we're not getting quality service. So if we're going to spend the money, let's get our money's worth and make sure that our seniors, who are the most vulnerable, are taken care of and are secure during the times that they're here, because let's remember why we put them in place, what was happening in these buildings, and how our residents and our seniors did not feel secure. So.
What type of contract do we have now? When does it come up for renewal?
We will be putting this on the street immediately. Like, it's going to take us about 2 or 3 days, but we're ready to put this on the street for rebid. We are ready, and we've been ready. And I've actually, I want to say that I worked very hard at making this happen as well, because I was looking for a way to increase the quality of our security guards, because I've been really dissatisfied. Because at the point the contract we have now, a contractor can hire somebody and pay them minimum wage, part-time. They change guards, they change employees. They're not particularly professional. They don't have to be trained. Our contract doesn't require them to have that training. And fashioning this resolution that was the goal, to be able to have any contractor that bids on this job to be paying their folks enough that they can have training, they can have benefits, they are people that are going to stay on the job, and there are certain security companies that provide that training, provide that background, and some that don't. Our old contract, the ones that provided that training could not be competitive to the ones that just throw anyone out there this afternoon, right? Now they are going to be able to compete. Not to say these folks can't get that contract still, if they're competitive, but this will allow the more professional companies to be competitive. And that's why I want this, so we can provide that service to our residents. Do we expect it to cost us some more money? Yes. It's probably going to be more expensive for us. We won't know until we get in. We've done our estimates. We know what our estimate is, but we'll wait to see. Probably, we hope next month that we may well be able to be back to you with a proposed new security contract. It may be May, but we hope next month.
And will that go through professional procurement or come directly to the board?
It will absolutely go through procurement, yes.
Can we get the information about it beforehand?
If you ask for it in writing, I'll be glad to.
How long do we need?
Mr. Rico, that's going to be a sealed bid.
Yeah, it's a sealed bid. So I think what the request would be is that once the bids were open, that Commissioner Sanford be given a copy of that. And if you give it to me in time, I'll make it happen to the best of my ability.
Okay, so there's no further questions, concerns. Can we call the vote?
David Edwards?
Yes.
Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez?
Yes.
Michael Russo? Jane Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitzman?
Yes. Oh, thank you. May the record show that Ms. Seitzman is on.
Oh, welcome, Commissioner.
It's not too late, but
She's made it for the last.
Point of order, did Erica Seitzman or Commissioner Seitzman vote on either the resolutions for council?
No, she wasn't here.
No, you weren't here.
I don't know when she jumped on.
She obviously, didn't you just see it come up on the?
No,
She didn't.
I was paying attention to the lies.
Well, I'm glad that. Motion to close?
Motion. Oh, we've
I'm sorry.
got one resolution we'd like to bring. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We've got a resolution concerning service providers.
Oh, okay.
So we'd like to pass these out. I'm sorry. And one of the commissioners,
I have to recuse myself.
resident services.
This agency. Yeah.
Thanks for catching us, Gladys. You're welcome. So much back and forth. We'll lose it. So this resolution that's being introduced is something we do every year. The board has authorized a mini grant, we call them, up to the amount of $2,500 for nonprofits that do services for our residents. We did bring this to the Resident Services Committee this week. Unfortunately, we could not have the proposals brought back to us in time to get it on the agenda because Friday was the deadline for the agenda. We met with the Resident Services Committee on Tuesday, I think, Jeannie, right? Tuesday, Barbara. And we reviewed the proposals that came in for these mini grants. And we did get these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 proposals. And those 4 of those 5 requested an amount of money. And again, it's not, none of these would pay for their entire programs. It's really just kind of seed money that we make available to these organizations. One of the organizations, Hive Sports, did not ask for any money. They just asked for the use of our facility, particularly the Mamba Johnson Field. And they are going to be doing some other programs with us. So what we are asking today is, as we have in prior years, to approve a mini grant of $2,500 to the Amazing Truth Society, which again is Ray Rodriguez, the Boys and Girls Club of Hudson County, to Hope's Community Action Partnership, and to Team Wilderness, so we can enter an agreement with them for these mini grants of $2,500.
Can I just read it into the record?
Please do.
Resolution number 2025-0312, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award contracts for resident services programs provider.
Motion.
Second.
I've got questions.
I have a point of order. This resolution does not appear on the agenda. The agenda ends at 03.11.
So this would be a new business?
New business.
And according to the Open Public Meetings Act, this wasn't published ahead of time, so we should.
But we have the right to do it under new business?
It's a regular meeting, as long as it's listed on the the annual meeting notice of the authority. Any business can be conducted at a meeting. It just is listed on the agenda. If it is known at the time that the agenda is published, which I believe the director already said, this was a late starter that was not known at that time, and it is consistent with the policy adopted last month by the authority, that a motion can be made from the floor, just like any other motion or second, which you've done, I think, at least twice tonight, and repeatedly made a motion from the floor.
Yeah, but you guys also passed some sort of policy, some crazy policy.
Are you talking about me?
I'm
just asking if you're talking.
I'm talking to the camera.
I didn't pass anything, so I don't know if you're talking.
The board passed some crazy policy about having a first sponsor and a second sponsor to prevent this commissioner from proposing resolutions.
That's not true.
And
You have the
now,
right
at the
to do
very end of
that.
the meeting, a resolution is being slipped in.
That's not true. This will go under new business. There was a motion and a
Absolutely
second.
true.
Am I right? There was a motion and a second.
Oh, well, under new business, I'd like to propose a
Okay,
resolution
well,
right
once
after
we're,
this
oh,
one.
that's fine. That's your right. Absolutely. So do we have any questions, concerns? Absolutely.
Does this, I realize,
Yes.
I guess because one of them doesn't get any money,
Yes.
there are other organizations, Young Life, we heard tonight, Hoboken Community Center.
Yes.
Are they allowed to work here? So I guess I'm trying to understand why they're not included.
Because they didn't put in a proposal.
Okay.
Now, we do work with those organizations. They can come into my office next week. I'm not going to give them money.
Right, no, I understand that, and you're not giving money to Hives.
Right. And they put in a proposal. They wanted to make sure that they got in to request to use the field. Now, somebody can come in tomorrow and say, is the community room open on Thursdays? I'd like to do a program a music program for the kids. If we can work that out and they check out, we can allow them to do that. But these are the folks that want to be the official service providers. Hive Sports did not have to put in a proposal because they didn't ask for a mini grant, but he did. So
I mean, I just speaking very personally. Go ahead.
I apologize, I don't mean to interrupt. Just from, I don't know anything about Young Life specifically. Historically, the authority has taken the position that certain organizations are partners with the authority, and that really is under the authority's use of the facilities, where the authority takes a more active role. This was originally intended for outside organizations who essentially wanted to provide services but didn't want the active involvement of the authority. So I don't know if that applies to Young Life, but I know that some other organizations, the churches, for example, host the back-to-school fundraisers, things like that. People involved in some of that is a partner of the authority, and the authority essentially takes a position that it's an authority event, a co-sponsored event, as opposed to these outside organizations that are running their own events.
I mean, speaking very specific, I'm involved both with Young Life and with the Hoboken Community Center. Is there anything they need to do to be able to do services here? Are they in some way restricted because they didn't put in a proposal?
Well, again, we could not give them money, but if they would want to come in and use our facilities, they need to set up an appointment. We'll sit down with our resident services folks, and we'll see what they want to do, and we'll see what we can provide, what help we can provide to them.
And just to add a little bit of and also partially answer, I think, the rest of Commissioner Edwards' question. Anybody can submit a proposal on a rolling basis for one of these, just not for the monetary grant.
I don't think either of them want
Right,
the
and I'm saying, but anybody can be a resident services programs provider, not an official partner or official authority event, by submitting a proposal anytime throughout the year. They're accepted on a rolling basis.
And we encourage them. Thank you. Come and see us.
Thank you. Are there any further questions, concerns?
Yes, Director Recco, what due diligence did you do on this resolution?
We know each of these organizations well. We've received their proposal, gone through them, and I think pretty much a mirror of what Commissioner Edwards said, but we did it at the Resident Services Committee of going through their proposals. And we've also sent their proposals over to the attorney who's reviewed them, and we will make sure, because we have not, similar to the legal proposals, we have not entered contracts with them yet until you approve it. And once they have all their requirements met, for example, we are named as additional insured, etc., we will enter contracts with them and move forward. We are in the great position of having worked with each of these organizations already and know them well.
Since you know these organizations so well, is Hope's Community Action Partnership Incorporated still, is Frank Reyes still the president?
I'd have to look at their paperwork. I just don't know that.
Okay.
I don't.
You're aware that Frank Reyes is involved in Hope's?
Yeah, I've known that.
And he's on the board?
Yeah, I've known that.
Okay. And you're aware of his conviction?
Yes.
Related to crimes committed against housing authority residents?
Yes.
And we're still going to do business with him?
Hope's does great work with us. We do not paint people with a brush like that. You can.
We didn't. Well,
you know, we do business with a lot of organizations, and I'm not going to say no to a great organization like Hope.
What is
because,
this?
May I finish? Because one of their board members happens to have had a conviction in their past. Frank Reyes is not Hope's, and Hope is not Frank Reyes.
That's a pretty naive statement.
I don't agree with you. And I wish you'd quit insulting me by calling me naive and calling me other names. That's so childish.
Well, then you can quit.
No, I won't quit.
You have lied multiple times.
I just ask that you please be respectful of the director, and if we cannot, then could we move forward with the vote?
What is the status of
What
is the status of debarment proceedings with regard to Mr. Reyes?
I have no debarment proceedings against Mr. Reyes.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to remove Hope's Community Action Partnership Incorporated as one of these from the resolution. I have no issue with the others, but I would like to remove Hope's. Motion.
Do we have a second?
Anybody?
We don't have a second. So can we move forward?
Then, at this time, I would request, are you still an employee of Hope's?
Absolutely, and I was planning on abstaining. Thank you. You don't need to tell me what to do. I
Oh, I absolutely do.
Thank you.
You didn't abstain from the last resolution.
I didn't need to. I don't work for
Absolutely
them.
needed to.
I don't work for
Absolutely
them.
needed to.
But Director,
What a
will you
lie.
call the vote?
So,
Thank you very much.
I'd like to propose.
Could we please call the vote,
meeting.
Director? Thank you.
David Edwards?
Yes.
Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Abstain.
Jean Rodriguez?
Yes.
Michael Russo, James Sanford, Erica Seitzman?
No.
Erica. Erica Seitzman?
She's muted. Now that she can hear us.
Are you there, Erica?
Erica?
Hold on, yes, sorry, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. So, moving on. The motion has passed, correct? So, okay.
Thank you. So, new business, I'd like to make a motion to contact HUD to begin the debarment process of convicted felon Frank Reyes.
Is there a motion on the floor? There's not a second. I apologize.
I'd like to make a motion to request criminal legal guidance as an attorney to help this commissioner investigate crimes of this authority.
Sure. Is there a motion?
Well, there's a motion.
I mean, is there a second? There's not a second, Commissioner Sanford.
I'd like to make a motion to request that HUD return the Hoboken Housing Authority to $0 procurement.
Is there a second on the floor? Sorry, it's not passed, Commissioner Sanford. If there's no
Then I
further,
would like to make a motion to request that HUD OIG conduct a full investigation of the Hoboken Housing Authority.
is there a motion on the floor? Second. I'm sorry, is there a second on the floor? Sorry, Commissioner, there's not a second.
Okay. Then I would like to make a motion to recommend to HUD to take direct control of the Hoboken Housing Authority.
Is there a second on the floor? There's not a second, Commissioner Sanford. We appreciate you. A motion to close?
Motion, second, all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
No,